championship leader has taken over. Vincent holds a 22.5-second. Good evening, sim racing fans across the globe, and for round 2 of the 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series, welcome to iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. And we kick things off tonight from the Jewel in the Desert, the 1 mile Phoenix International Raceway, for the second round of the final rung on the ladder before the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series 2016, and 50 drivers fighting for one of 20 guaranteed spots, and a lot going to play out here tonight at the 1 mile oval. A lot of things can and probably will happen, but first off, good evening and welcome to the broadcast tower. My name is Jacob Seelman. I'm joined here in the broadcast booth by Evan Pasoko, Justin Rosenau, Brian Blackford, our driver analyst. We'll get to him as well here in the next couple of minutes, but first, gentlemen, Evan, we watched Cody Bias put on a clinic in the closing laps in last Tuesday's Pro Opener at the Texas Motor Speedway. We didn't have a caution in 167 laps, and as unfortunate it is for me to say, I don't think we're going to be that lucky this time around. This place has a short track mentality and short track tempers. I think we'll see both here tonight.
Yeah, we were impressed, obviously, that these guys went start to finish green last week at Texas, but Texas has always been a very good racetrack for these guys to race at. So, being realistic speaking, we're realistic, the driver's realistic as well, because if you come in here to Phoenix thinking you're going to go the next 8 races without a single caution flag on the year, you're probably not being too smart with yourself on the strategy. So, it is Phoenix, it's tight quarters, and before we go green tonight, the sun will set and we'll be racing under the lights for the first time in this series. So, under the lights, it always makes things more exciting. Phoenix is basically a short track, though. Contact is all a part of it, and if you tuned in back in the 2014-2015 campaign, that race had a lot of drama, and I think this could be the first big shuffle race we see points-wise in the season. Obviously, your championship standings at this point, just the results from Texas, but now through round number 7, these first 7 races, there's one drop week. Those final 2 races, everybody will know where they sit in the points in there. So, unfortunately, Jacob, I'll agree with you on the fact that we're probably not going to go caution-free. I'll also say that Phoenix is probably going to serve as somebody's drop week.
I would have to agree with you, Justin Rosenau. I'll turn to you now and talk about the driver who was dominant in this Pro Series race 1 year ago, Alan Bowes, very strong here at the Jewel in the Desert last season. We expect him to be one of the guys that you're going to have to contend with tonight.
Well, yeah, you look back to last week, and his 4-stop strategy at Texas kind of made him go from being what we thought eventually was going to be the hunted. He actually became the hunter in the late stages of the race and just kind of ran out of time because he was chasing down Cody Bias and Josh Berry up in the front 1 week ago. And, for Alan Bowes, he's proved it already with one NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series win, and he's looking to try to notch another Pro Series victory into his grasp once again here tonight. And Phoenix is a place he certainly can do it because, like you said, he took the win in the Pro Series last year, and he's shown that he's had speed no matter what series he's racing in.
Absolutely right. And I want to welcome our driver analysts in for the evening. Teammate to 2-time NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series champ Ray Alfalla, who joined us a week ago. Brian Blackford, who finished top 20 in this year's NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series standings, already locked into the 2016 campaign. Brian, first off, great to have you here as a part of LSR TV tonight. And I know, you drivers are very vocal about this racetrack. It's a tough little racetrack to master, and we're going to see a lot of different things play out under the lights tonight. This track, tough enough during the day with the dog leg, but, they say the nighttime is the right time, and we know that's going to be the case here this evening.
Oh, definitely. Phoenix has always been a pretty difficult track in sim racing. There's not a whole lot of room, and even after the reconfiguration of this track, it's still really close quarter racing, and it's really exciting for everybody to watch. So be sure to tune in and stay tuned in until the very end because it's going to be a great race.
Gonna be a lot of fun to watch. Just over 150 miles. And Evan, we're gonna get ready here to take a look at exactly what it takes now to get around this 1 mile oval.
Yeah, Phoenix, obviously a very interesting racetrack, and this is that newer configuration on the sim. It'll be a tricky one tonight, and we'll go once again to our LSRTV lap guide. We'll go behind the wheel with the number 12 Brian Blackford Racing GTR Simulator SimStem X Ford Fusion. Kyle Putt's going to show you guys what these drivers will be dealing with for tonight's race that totals 156 laps.
Hello everybody, my name is Kyle Putz, driver of the number 12 Ford Fusion for Brian Blackford Racing. I'm here at the Phoenix International Raceway for Site 2 of the iRacing.com Pro Series, where you'll see us tackle this track for 156 laps in an action-filled race. So without further ado, let's get down on the track. Pit exit's kind of interesting here, is basically you merge right into the racing line. That being said, the racing line on the backstretch here is everywhere. You'll have guys running, you'll have guys cutting this dog leg, you'll have guys staying out onto the bank surface. Just all depends on how they want to race it. Coming down into 3 and 4, the entries, you got to make sure that you don't get it loose, but you also got to make sure that you can hold it down on the yellow line. If you start drifting up in the center of the corner, you'll start burning off your tires, and after about 10-15 laps, you'll start sliding everywhere, which will make it for a very poor run. Down in 1 and 2, you got a lot more banking down here than you have in 3 and 4. Just got to hold it to the yellow line best you can. Get on to the throttle a lot earlier than you expect because the exit it widens up a little bit, so you can get back on it a little more aggressively. Down into 3 and 4, just try to make sure to hold that yellow line. The exit's a little tricky there because you'll start to get a little bit of wheel spin off after about 15-20 laps. Just got to minimize that to keep the tires nice and cool. Back down into 1 and 2, hold that bottom, come out, take a different line here. You'll see guys cutting this dog leg like this, especially when you see green flag pit stops and you got guys on new tires. That'll be a great opportunity to pass somebody, as from what I've experienced in testing, you don't want to go down there after about 20 laps because they'll just start wheel spinning. Got a little loose there after 3 and 4. I expect to see a lot of guys doing that as they start pushing their cars. It's just something that will happen unless they've set up specifically for it, but if they have, then that means it'll be a little bit slower in 1 and 2. This is probably going to be the line that I'll be running most of the night, just trying to save my tires the best that I can. I feel like I had better tire wear staying out there. Once again, down in 3 and 4, hold the bottom. We'll run one more lap here for you. I know I only ran 3 last time for Texas, but we'll give you guys one more good look. Try to make this one a clean lap. Down into 1 and 2 again. Hold the bottom. Back on the throttle as early as possible. Just make sure not to slide it coming out of there. I'll cut it just a little bit, especially like first couple laps. That's what you'll see me doing. Down in 3 and 4 here, we'll be making a pit stop, so we're going to make sure that we're on the yellow line the entire time. Kind of hard, there's no real marker to aim for. Just got the white line, get on the brakes as hard as you can. 45 at the cone, which it seems like very slow considering we're getting off 3 and 4 fairly quick, especially with it being a night race. There's not as much sliding around as it would be during the day race, but you know, as tires start to heat up, you guys saw last week at Texas, once tires started heating up and a lot of rubber started to be laid down on the track, there was a lot of slipping and sliding. So just coming around here to the pit box, got to make sure not to speed. It's a long pit road. Just trying to make sure not to slide through, especially on old tires. You might see somebody doing that. And yeah, that's this week's segment, guys. Hope everybody enjoys the race. I know I'll be having a blast out here. It's a lot of fun to race with these guys. It's a lot of this interesting track. It's a lot of fun to race. It'll be a lot of racing the track versus each other. So we'll see you guys next week.
And we bring you back up top side as we get a little bit closer to the end of qualifying and the kickoff for tonight's 250-kilometer event here at Phoenix International Raceway. Evan, you know, we talk about the dog leg. That's the trickiest portion of this racetrack, and that's going to be the challenge for these guys tonight. How hard do you push in that dog leg to be able to make up time? It's one of the few places where you really can get a decent run in order to make something happen.
And that, you know, it leaves a whole lot open there as well on the back straightaway because you can do a whole lot of things there. And we saw with the lap guide one time around, we saw the car take the irregular lane up on the outside of the yellow line, next lap through down on the bottom. There's no set in stone rule as far as can you go up there now? Can you not go up there on this lap as opposed to another? But the big thing is you can go down there. Does it really save you some time? Maybe a little bit. It's not going to be the best thing to do tire wear wise, but on the drops of the green flag, so on these restarts, when these guys really want to get it, if again we saw this last season, I'm not going to be surprised if we see them 4 and 5 wide down there on the apron, because it's worth the gamble. Maybe late in the race, it's going to be a thing though that a lot of guys might not do. Those that are aggressive, those that are in the back of the pack, that could be a good route for them to get forward.
Blackford, I doubt we're going to see this tonight, but I'll throw the number in just to say that we've talked about it. If we happen to manage to get a green flag run that goes all the way the distance of a fuel window, we're talking maybe 72 laps worth before you basically run that tank dry. So if for some reason we were to go green flag for a long time, you're talking about a minimum 2-stop race here tonight.
Oh yeah, for sure. You won't be able to make it on one stop. I don't anticipate a whole lot of people staying out very long on the older tires. In future or in previous builds, there wasn't as much fall off, so you could get away with staying out long and hoping for a caution. But you're just giving up a lot of time, staying out there on old tires. So I expect people to pit around lap 50, 55.
It's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out, Evan. Really quickly, we have started a little bit of a war within our LSRTV broadcast team. We are making picks each week for these 9 Pro Series races, and just for the record, I do have bragging rights. I picked Cody Bias, and he went to victory lane last week. Though Cody told me he hates Phoenix, so not going to do it again this week. But at least it's good to start off the season with a win. I'm happy.
And to be fair, I think you also won the fantasy last season too, and I
Just
can't
a little
quite remember that to be exactly. So off to a good start. Me and Cisco had some good picks, but again, Phoenix is very different from the Texas Motor Speedway. So our picks for this week, I'm going to go with Ryan Lowe for this round number 2 on this 2015-2016 championship. Jacob, you're going with Josh Berry as yours.
Yeah, I am. Barry has always been good here in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. Maybe not had the results to show for it due to mostly no fault of his own, but I like the junior motorsports development driver to get it done. I know Justin's excited about the guy who made it happen and led the most laps here a year ago. Justin, you like Alan Bowes to go to victory lane tonight.
Alan Bowes really showed me something last week, especially during the Texas race, showing his composure, his drive, and really just the pure skill that he has behind the wheel. And really, I'd like to see him do well here once again at Phoenix, because my poor rear end, you guys kind of gave me a gimme last week after my pick. Last week, initially, Logan Clampett DNQ'd, so going with Alan Bowes, and hopefully he can get me a win to get back in the game.
Yeah, Blackford's got Logan Clampett tonight. We'll shake out the rest of our pit crew when we come back. We're going to go to take care of some quick business. Back for the green flag after this on iRacing Live and LSRTV. You're watching the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
It's been a very long offseason. Teams have changed, sponsors have changed, colors and all, but one thing that hasn't, they like to mash the loud pedal. Green flag is out on the 2015 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season.
iRacing is the ideal platform for these broadcasts because we have the best racers, the best online racers in the world, and we have such a variety of racing, from NASCAR to Grand Prix style racing, sports car, endurance racing. We do it all.
Since 2010, the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series has been the absolute pinnacle of road racing in a simulated form. Great start then by Yakoda from the front. They're packing up behind number 1. They're going to be 4 wide as they come down into turn number 1 for the first time. Will they make it through that first corner? You can see them funneling through the center S's. It looks as though everyone is just about made it through. We have got ourselves some contact though, Rachel.
Side by side going into turns 3 and 4. Humpy's got the advantage, but Ottinger's not going to.
Oh, he got into him!
Ottinger gets into the 58, turns right into him, and that ends Ottinger's run.
We do a lot of live broadcasts now. Every Tuesday is NASCAR night, so on alternating Tuesdays we do the Peak Antifreeze series, and on the other Tuesdays the B-Class series, which is the Xfinity cars, and sometimes we'll even do some short track racing depending on the schedule. Every other Saturday we do the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix series, so the best road racers we have. And we also broadcast some special events, including the Endurance Championship, which is part of the Road Warrior series. So we broadcast the Daytona 24, the Sebring 12 hour, we'll do the Watkins Glen 6 hour, several other races along there. And then of course the iRacing Pro Racing Champions, which is usually our biggest and most watched event of the year.
That is short track racing, and that's how awesome this sim is, Joe. That's something you see on TV on highlight reels, and we just saw it here, live.
We invite iRacers who are real world racers. They compete every December. Guys like Alex Gurney, Justin Wilson, Scott Speed, Ron Capps, the list goes on. Really some big name drivers from all major forms of motorsport. It's really neat to see them get together and race together.
See Laughlin up top, down to the ball, gets turned! Laughlin gets turned! Caution is out foul at the front of the field!
The easiest place to find the broadcast is on our website, iRacing.com/live. So you can find some of our races on fanschoice.tv as well. A nice place to find iRacing broadcasts.
You can also find it at mrn.com and peakauto.com.
But here comes Gregor Hutu into Canada corner for the final time. Just 2 corners left to go before he finally makes himself a triumphant return back to victory lane. He has led 38 laps of this event here today, and Gregor Hutu once again is a winner. Gregor Hutu will work himself through the Cobra Parabolica. He will claim his 46th victory in iRacing.com World Championship competition. Gregor Hutu, for the 2nd race in a row, reigns supreme.
The one thing that I think is the most important is we've been racing this Ground Championship Series for quite some time now, a very long time even at that, and he is the only driver to have ever won a professional road race at Watkins Glen.
But there is nothing that could crack that finish #1 Team Redline driver. Gregor Hutu worked himself out the final corner, and just as he did in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, in 2015, Hutu once again wins at Watkins Glen.
Hutu will come across the line and takes the win for round 7 here at Virginia International Raceway.
Here he comes now, just 3 corners left to go, into Brooklands for the final time, into Luffield for the final time. Never ever say that Gregor Hutu is beaten, because he just comes back bigger, he comes back stronger, he wins round number 9 of the World Championship Series, 49th win of his career. If you're the world's greatest sim racing driver, you can do it with your statements on the road courses. Do it when it matters. Out of the final corner for the final time, number 50 for Gregor Hutu.
A 5-minute warm-up session for these drivers now draws to a close as we welcome you back into the LSRTV broadcast booth for the start of the Phoenix 250. The car is now on the starting grid. Let's take a look at your LSRTV starting lineup for round number 2 on a 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series. It'll be Brad Davies, the number 11 car, a 25-224. Justin will lead us to the green flag from pole position. David Rattler, good qualifying effort for the 09, will start alongside in second, and it'll be Cody Bias, Josh Berry, and Ryan Borges inside the top 5.
Outside of row number 3 in the 6th spot, the 6 of Trey Eidson, the 39 of Michael Johnson starts 7th, 21 Alan Bowes starts 8th. The 9th spot goes to the 38 of Ryan Lowe. Dylan Jones in the 03. He'll start out the race in the top 10.
Justin Trombley to roll from 11th tonight, 12th spot for Brandon Hoff. It'll be Dylan Rafferty in 13th. 14th is Brandon Schmidt and Joshua Lawton in P15.
16th goes to the 50 of Alex Scribner. 99 Team Evonen starts 17th. 18th goes to the 02 of Blake Bryant. The 55 of Nick Ferber starts 19th. And rounding out the top 20, the 20 of Greg McKinney.
The light's already off on top of the iRacing.com American Childhood Cancer Organization pace car, so we are officially set to do battle. 156 laps on tap. And again, we're glad to have you with us on LSRTV, the pace car. Going to make that sharp and left-hand turn down to the safety of the pit lane, and we're going to get set to go at it. Pace car down. Brad Davies, control car at a turn at number 3 and 4. Green flag flies, and underway we go from Phoenix Racing down to turn number 1. And no question, your race leader already down out in front, the 11 of Brad Davies. Outside lane, not fun for David Rattler. 3 wide, they go for third as Bias slots in the second. The 09 top side, it's Barry in the middle. Borges halfway to the inside wall. He wants that number 3 spot.
Borges needs a much better run after his first race there at Texas. Gets settled in. Borges starting to work his way up through the top 5 at the moment. First car to go down to the apron. Gets underneath the 88 of Josh Berry. He's got his sights set on the 09 of David Rattler. Borges up to 4th now. Berry challenging back through the dog leg to his inside, wheel to wheel, door to door, now going into turn number 3. Berry's going to take 4th back away from Borges.
So that 98 could have to slot back in and settle for what is going to be P5 at the moment. Behind them, things a little bit exciting. The 6 car topside in a side-by-side battle. That's Trey Eidson, started in P6. He's 8th at the start-finish line. Ryan Lowe making a move on him. The 21 of Alan Bowes also. So that 21 Toyota makes a pass. It drops Eidson back to P9 at the moment. And in front of them, that number 39 outside, he's under attack because Ryan Lowe, very good run here last season all the way through to the checkered flag. He's got a good start to this one. He goes to the inside. It looks like he'll get clear on that 39 of Michael J. Johnson. In front of them, the fight for second is a short-lived one. Cody Bias had it at the start-finish line, but David Rattler got that at inside position. He takes P2 back, Justin, after losing it on the green flag.
A little bit further back, battle for P13, the 50 of Alex Scribner, the 46 of Dylan Rafferty, and the 17 of Justin Trombley, all involved in a dogged battle here and through turns 3 and 4. And out of turn number 4, Justin Trombley going to use the outside to get around the 46 of Dylan Rafferty, move him one spot further up a field, and now puts himself solidly back into the 13th spot after Rafferty was just challenging for it here a lap ago.
And we saw that dogleg in full effect on the drop of the green flag because we saw, again, it was Borges who was no more than 10-15 feet off of the inside wall. They really spread things out. Outside of that incident, though, most guys not going down to that dogleg. They're staying up on a normal racetrack after they get single filed out. More fighting inside of the top 10. I'll tell you what, Alan Bowes trying to get going forward. And Michael J. Johnson, he seems like he's been stuck topside for the longest time. Both of these guys, though, right where they started in P8 and P7 respectively, they'll fight down to turn number 3. Couple of guys behind them going at it, but for the most part, everybody trying to find a spot in line. Brad Davies, though, enjoying the view out front, already 9/10 of a second to the good over David Rattler in P2.
Back again, once again, for that 7th spot. Alan Bowes had it at the stripe. Johnson still fighting tough on the high side. Not going to get it done through the dogleg as Bowes uses the apron just a little bit through the dogleg and now finally clears the 39 of Johnson, and in tow will be the 6 of Trey Eidson, and 39 of Michael Johnson just shuts the door on Trey, not allowing him, and finally gets back into line. Everybody pretty much single file through about the top 15 cars or so.
Top 18, it looks like they've sorted things out. Back in 19th position, though, Dylan Duval inside of the racetrack, and it's the outside for Nick Furler. A defensive move, going to keep the 55 Chevrolet in front of Duval. Duval trying to get going forward in this race after starting in P26. That was a battle for 18th. He doesn't win it. He has to stay in 19th for the moment. But at nice now, 8 laps into the race for the first time all race long. We just start to get things settled out, and now 2 more sets of battles by the top 10. But your leaders are really starting to spread out now.
The leaders are starting to spread out, and what makes this really interesting is this is another track that really has been affected, I think, Brian Blackford, by the dynamic track surfaces that we've implemented here recently, and it's something that we continue to talk about just because it does change the races that much. I mean, how tough is it for these guys as we start to lay down rubber here tonight?
It's really tough. You gotta get what you can on these restarts. There's not a whole lot of opportunities to pass outside 5 laps past the restart. So you got to get what you can. You got to be very aggressive. And these guys don't really know what they have going into some of these turns. And I'm actually hearing from the 31 team that they got penalized for switching lanes before the start-finish line on the start. So Sasha Wessler off to a tough start.
That puts him 1 lap to the negative at this point. Was scheduled to start in 31st position. Right now, though, 43rd out of the 43 drivers that made it to tonight's event. And he's back there battling with a couple of lead lap cars, a little bit fresher tires, just trying to keep that lucky dog position if he is to get a caution flag. But, I mean, everybody's spreading out. Really, P6 on back. You're really starting to see the fall off. But for Davies, Rattler, Barry, they're all sitting pretty comfortable right now. There's a second between your cars in P1, 2, and 3. Bias and Low, they're a little bit close there. Borges hanging on to the back of the 38, but a lot has been going on around P10. That's slowly starting to settle down. Greg McKinney going to find himself on the wrong side of the preferred lane down that time in 3 and 4. The number 20 machine top side in 18th position. He'll fall to 19th because Dylan Duval and now Timu Evonen, actually 2 drivers going to put a move on him, so McKinney falls 2. He's back to P20 where he started from.
He is, and there's been a lot of changes early on in this race. Another driver I'm keeping my eye on, currently sitting 14th right now and been on the move, really making an improvement from where he practiced at earlier today, the 02 Blake Bryant, Evan, a driver who, while he's only picked up 4 positions to date right now, really starting to claw his way forward here, closing in on 13th where Dylan Rafferty sits in that 46 right now, and that's going to be a battle here before too long. About 4 car lengths separate them as everybody pretty much running single file here. 14 laps complete. Brad Davies out in front by a second and a half, and Justin, I'm not necessarily surprised that we're seeing the lead car, as we tend to here at Phoenix, be able to get out in front early on.
Well, you're asking just for the simple fact that the 11 of Brad Davies really has had nobody to contend with other than just the drop of the green flag, which easily disposed of the 09 of David Rattler, and he's really just enjoyed a comfortable pace out front. He's choosing to run his race. You know, he may be trying to open up a large gap and then just settle in and try to save his tires throughout the tire run. It's really anybody's guess, and as far as that goes, Davies really trying to back up his qualifying run and show that he can be the fastest man on the racetrack no matter what the condition is like.
We didn't get a chance to before the drop of the green flag, but now for a first look at what's going on the radios and trackside with some of the crews, we send it down to tonight to our LSRTV pit reporters, Andy Kessler, Brian Macklin down trackside for us tonight. Andy, we'll start with you.
Yeah, we're getting word right now from the 27 pit of Cody Bias. Team's just struggling just a little bit on the start. He was able to get up there and battle right off the beginning, but sort of falling off right now. He's sitting comfortably right now in P4. Just not quite. A couple adjustments away is what he thinks from making this thing stick and get up to the front right now. So a little bit of trouble right now. Nothing to be worried about at the moment, but so far so good for that 27 bunch. Brian?
All the Aftermath drivers right now are currently looking to go into a conservation strategy for the night. Don't expect to see any of those drivers moving towards the front in the beginning stages of this race. They feel like they have a very strong long run program for here at Phoenix tonight, so they're going to take it easy on the beginning of the run, and hopefully they're going to go to the front towards the end, looking to see these guys really be strong after 25 and 30 laps. Also looking at the drivers from the team, Dylan Duval is trying to march his way up through the field. He had a horrible qualifying effort. He was very disappointed in himself. He's marched all the way up to the 17th position, and he feels like he's got a car that can do what Cody Bias did last week, and that's win the race.
I'm not surprised by that, honestly, Brian, and nor am I surprised that any of the drivers with an alliance with the team, High Performance Motorsports, the HPM guys teaming up with the drivers from the team direct, Josh Berry being one of those who sits third ahead of his teammate Cody Bias right now in fourth, and now a battle just behind them, Ryan Lowe moving up to the top 5, Alan Bowes, Ryan Borges fighting for 6th. But, you know, we talk about these guys, HPM and the team, Evan, they've been the team to beat, not just in this Pro Series early, but in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. We watched Kenny Humpy walk away with the title this season, and that strength has seemed to continue on into this Pro Series. These drivers, they're not going away quietly. If anything, they're getting better and better, despite the fact that Brad Davies right now enjoying a 2-second lead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you talk about that number 11 iRaceforLife.org Chevrolet. Davies is doing very good out in front now. 4-time NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series winner, but we talk about qualifying results. We talk about how close everybody normally is. We consider a 2/100th of a second or even a 1/100th of a second gap a lot. Phoenix leaves a lot in the driver's hand. It's a smaller track. It's a very wide track. It has its preferred lanes. There's not a whole lot of banking, but it puts a lot in the driver's hand. Davies and Rattler were almost over an entire hundredth of a second, top 2 cars in the qualifying session over everybody else. They were the only 2 to break the 25.2 barrier, get down below those 25.3 pluses. So I'm not surprised either that, Brad Davies is running away at the moment. You said 2 seconds, and it's just about at 2.5 seconds. Not something that you normally talk about at Phoenix, because what we always mention at this track is it's a short track, it's a bull ring. You got to try to survive this one. The best way to survive it, to get out in front of it. And he's already starting to catch some lap cars, because Brandon Schmidt, the number 3 Chevrolet, going to be on the chopping block here in a moment, who rides right now in P42, only a couple of car lengths in front of going a lap down. Not only is that bad news for that 3, that's bad news for Sasha Wessler, who was penalized earlier because he no longer sits in that lucky dog spot if that pass is completed.
And right now we sit working 24 of 156 laps. We've been lean, mean, and green so far. Blackford, we were talking before the start of this race that we expected a lot of cautions. I'm a little surprised personally that we have been green flag all the way to date. Everybody actually taking it easy here in the early goings.
Yeah, I mean, they're taking it easy, not getting into each other, but there's some really hard battles going on. There's a lot of great side-by-side racing, so it's very exciting. It's just that nobody's out yet, and last year in this race in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, we went green like this at the beginning, but right during around first green flag pit stops, we had a caution, and it got pretty rough from then on. So you never know what's going to happen in these things.
No, you really don't, but what we can tell you is we are 25 laps in the books. Brad Davies enjoys a 2.3 second lead over David Rattler. Josh Berry, Cody Bias, Ryan Lowe, the top 5, followed by Alan Bowes, Trey Edson, Ryan Borges, Brandon Hoff, and Michael Johnson now riding 10th. Alex Scribner, one of the major stories of the early going, he has charged his way. Justin Rosenau from 16th up to 11th, and that number 50 machine, the Gale Force Racing entry, continues to move his way forward. He is slowly but surely closing in on the 39 of Michael Johnson. Before too long, that's going to be a battle for 10th. He keeps chipping away at it. There's a second between them right now, and it shrinks little by little every lap.
It does, but he's got to start to worry about the 17 of Justin Trombley. Starts to claw his way up to the pack as well. The 50 of Alex Scribner, I've always known him as a short track kind of guy. I've raced against him years ago in another sim, and Scribner really kind of excels at these short tracks himself, trying to do very well down in Texas with his family's racing program, and is really starting to pay dividends on the short tracks of this series. And Phoenix being one of the short track type field tracks, I look for Scribner to try to rebound from his poor Texas performance and really try to assert himself a little bit better, considering that may have to be his drop race for the year.
I'm watching the 8 of Adam Gilliland now, who had started 25th, has moved his way up into 20th. I thought he was going to be making a little bit of a move for 19th on Team Yvonne and lost a little bit of time, but Gilliland, another guy that I expected was going to charge forward, Evan, I think a little bit quicker than he actually has. He had some speed earlier in practice, was close to the top 10, and really has not been able to make a lot of moves in this early going. I'm surprised by that from the 8.
Yeah, started in 25th and rides in 20th right now, just in front of that 20 of Greg McKinney. He's got to get up to Team Yvonne. He has that lap machine in front of him at the moment as Sasha Wessler. He's up 5 spots. There's a lot of guys in the same predicament as him, though. Fast guys. Dylan Duval started P26. He's up to 16th position at the moment. Actually, he'll fall to 17th as Nick Furler just makes a pass on him that last time by. A lot of names, though. Mitchell Hunt started 43rd on the grid, now P26. Those are fast race cars, but eventually, once you pass X amount of cars, Jacob, there's not a whole lot left on those machines to get through to the end of this one. Taking a look at a side-by-side fight in one of those battles we were talking about for 22nd, the 92 of Jeff Ramsdale topside, and it's Logan Clampett. First start on the season for the 44, try to make a move on the bottom, nothing that time, though. This battle, though, outside the top 20.
We're already more than 20% of the way through this race. Lap 32 going up on the board when they get back to the start-finish line, and Brad Davies continues to extend this gap out. It is now 2 3/4 seconds. Rattler, Barry, Bias, Lowe, the rest of your top 5. And what we're going to do is a little bit of business and continue on as we look towards green flag pit stops coming up later on in this run. When we come back, Brad Davies, your leader, and on iRacing Live and LSRTV, you're watching the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series from Phoenix International Raceway. Championship leader has taken over. Vincent holds a 22.5 seconds. Welcome back to LSRTV. Problems for a couple of drivers. Brad Davies continues to extend his lead over the field, Evan, but a couple of guys further back from the lead group having trouble under the commercial break we were just on.
But we were just talking about Adam Gilliland, how he was not getting quite as forward as he had wanted to. Started P25, was in 20th. Well, he pretty much lost those 4 or 5 spots in one lap. So that number 8 gmercer.com Toyota now back right where he started in 25th. And maybe going to be more. Bobbled that time at a turn number 4. Billy Price goes to the inside of the racetrack. So the 7 machine trying to make a move. That big group in front of him, though, swallowed him up whole, and that's a pretty good fight. The 92 of Ramsdale, the 44 of Clampett, and the 82 of Warren. Those 3 guys have been going at it for quite some time. Into the inside contact in the 82. He'll get into Logan Clampett. Both of those drivers will hang on after Warren goes to the inside and they make contact.
What was that, about that eventually everybody was going to start to get dicey, Brian Blackford? We just saw it.
Oh yeah, that was a pretty crazy move going into turn 3. I wasn't expecting the stick. Looks like we've got
22
trouble.
machine slow. Rob Ackley, he's up against the inside fence down the back straightaway. He made contact with, or rather was hit by, Byron Daly on the inside of the racetrack. The 93 got tight, pushed up, gone into the 22. We were just talking about Adam Gilliland, guys. The 8 machine right behind that accident. He checks up and is not a part of it. And Ackley with a good save to keep it out of the fence. But these guys starting to lose the handling, and you can tell at lap 40.
Yeah, you can. Brian Macklin, we'll throw it down to you on pit road. I know, and I've just heard it on the radio, the 8 of Adam Gilliland is hollering right now.
Yeah, he actually just came across his radio and said the car is extremely loose. He thinks he might have a tire going down. I'd expect to see Adam on pit road in the next 5 to 10 laps. He's very loose, and he's very upset with his race car and looking to get on pit road and try to get some adjustments made to this car as soon as possible. His other teammate, Trey Edson, up there in the 8th position, he's fighting the complete opposite right now. He said that his car is extremely tight. They want to try to loosen that car up some so that he can charge the corners a little bit better and get up off the corner a little bit better so he can maybe try to get up there and challenge for a top 5. Back up to you guys.
And you can join the conversation tonight as we work 43 laps in of 156. Go on Twitter, use the hashtag LSRTV. Get in the conversation tonight, and one lucky viewer going to walk away with one copy of MPR Analytics LLC's Sim Racing Setup Analyzer, a 1-year subscription valued at $29.99. Again, tweet hashtag LSRTV. You'll see yourself on the broadcast, interact with fellow viewers, be in the conversation, walk away with a good prize at the end of the evening.
We continue to work under green flag conditions, though, with some of the craziness we just saw. I'm not sure how long we're going to stay there, but Brian Blackford, you know, these guys really starting to lose the handle. You've been in this position in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, and the longer we go green flag, and Phoenix especially is a very tough track on a green flag run, you've got to manage that race car if you want to be successful here.
Oh, definitely. And it's so easy to overdrive these turns just a little bit too much at the beginning of a run, and you either lose the right rear or the right front. It just depends on how your car is handling at the beginning. And we see that with a lot of cars out here. The 8 of Adam Gilliland, he's really burned off the right rear. He's doing a great job of just hanging on. But there's some guys like Brad Davies. He's a veteran of our series, and he's got a great setup. He's driving it perfect, and he's extending his lead out now. Even more so now that the tires have worn out. You'll see the cars come to life that really have the setup dialed in.
The guys that are dialed in are pulling away from the field. We've really not seen a lot of change, Justin Rosenau, in the top 10 here over the last few laps. I just continue to be so impressed by the job that Brad Davies is doing in that number 11 machine. He continues to run away and hide here in this first third of the race.
He is starting to run away and hide. He just lost about a half a second due to a bobble with trying to get around a lap car. Tough luck for your leader, Brad Davies. I want to focus a little bit further back in the 4th spot. The 21 of Alan Bowes cleared both the 27 of Cody Bias, the 88 of Josh Berry. Now has his sights set on the 38 of Ryan Lowe. Bowes on the charge now out of turn number 4. He wants third, and he's only about a car length and a half away from getting to the back bumper of the 38 of Ryan Lowe.
In the top 10, they have not left each other, so the top 9 drivers on track right now all started in those single-digit running spots. So top 9 still are top 9, but they are shuffled up quite a bit. We talked about how Davies and Rattler, nothing going on there. You look on board, though, at that number 21 Toyota of Alan Bowes. He's looking up to Ryan Lowe. These guys have been on each other for the start of the race and on through, because Lowe started P9 and sits 3rd right now, and Bowes started in 8th and sits 4th right now. So these guys both started to the back half of the top 10, and they both worked their way inside of the top 5 together. Outside, though, of these two, Justin, you were talking about that 21 trying to make a move on Lowe. If you get around Lowe, or if you're Ryan Lowe trying to keep going, you're 6.5 seconds back from the leader, or about 4 seconds plus away from that second-place driver, the next battle for position you would catch in David Rattler. So the 11 and the 09, I mean, they're really putting on a clinic now 50 laps into the race. Outside of them, then things are a lot tighter behind them. So there's a lot they need to do to catch up, and if a small mistake is made by either of them, they don't have a lot. But there's the first caution flag. Trouble at lap 50.
Trouble, caution on the speedway for the first time on lap number 50. Don't really see a car spun out on the racetrack at the moment. We'll get that updated for you here in just a moment, Evan. I believe I'm hearing it is the 4 car that's going to be the 4 of Brian Day.
Day was running in 28th position at a turn number 4, and that car goes around for a ride. He's taking the virtual tow back to the pit lane for service, and that was right down in front of you guys on the pit lane, Andy.
Yeah, he just flat out lost it off of turn 4, got loose. We've seen a lot of cars probably come up with that opportunity to have that happen to him. We've seen a lot of good saves off that corner, but for Day right there, that just was unable to hang on to that. And brings out our first caution. Pit road's open, and all our leaders are heading this way. Leading them all down, though, is Brad Davies, David Radler right behind him. 4 tires and fuel for these guys. Pretty happy with the car. Not looking for too many changes here early on, but I'm sure there's lots of changes going on down near Brian.
Yeah, I was listening in on the crew chief for Adam Gilliland. He is going to make massive adjustments to the number 8 machine to try to get him going back in the right direction. His car was extremely loose on the long run there. He was not happy at all with that race car, looking to make some major adjustments a little bit further down pit road. Dylan Duval, he started charging at the beginning of this race, came up from the 26th position and made all the way up to the 16th position. He's looking for the car just to rotate through the center just a little bit better. He said if he can get that and he can get a little bit of track position, he's going to win this race tonight.
Brad Davies easily winning the race off pit road of the lead group, guys. And Brian Blackford, I do want to say, I'm looking at this with the way caution came out here at lap number 50. This about breaks the race up perfectly. You get the first third of this race done, and you pretty much get even stints if you can keep it going like this. Get another caution around 100, 105, and you've broken this up almost perfectly in 3 equal runs to be able to make this race happen on the 2 stops that we talked about at the top of the show. I like the way this flew. It really gives these guys a chance to reboot, recharge here for the restart, and see what they've really got now for run number 2.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have this restart too, because people are actually going to be even more aggressive now that they've seen the race can go green for a long time. So they're going to be trying even just as hard to get up to where they need to be, get the most points they can. Hearing that Timmy Hill actually missed his pit stall there, though, so that's unfortunate for him. But yeah, I don't see this race going green long enough to have green flag stops, just based on how the cars were handling. Everybody was just starting to get very loose off the turns. It was great to watch, but it's really difficult as a driver.
It's difficult, and it's a situation, obviously, that, now as we move into this second stint, a bunch of different situations that we're going to be monitoring. And, you look at the one at Timmy Hill, if anything good, Evan, comes out of what happened, it's that he gets a bonus point for leading a lap. Here he gets credited with leading lap 52 as the lights go out on the pace car, and Brad Davies reassumes command at the top of the field. Getting ready to go back to green. Who are you most excited about on this restart that maybe we haven't talked a lot about in the front of the field?
Dylan Duval still back in 14th position, and he's up 12 spots at the moment, but he's doing pretty good. He's going to be on the outside for the restart. What we saw on the drop of the first green flag is everybody topside really wide through turn number 1. They lost a lot of time to the guys on the bottom. Once they got back in line, they put it back to him. Just keep an eye on that dog leg, and we'll see how wide they stretch it this time.
It's going to be interesting to see as we get set to go back green flag racing. The field working through turns 3 and 4. The pace car going to make its way back to the safety of pit road. First restart of the night for Brad Davies on the front row. He leads them off turn number 4. The party's underway. Green flag flies. We are back to racing here at Phoenix International Raceway. Davies on the jump. They dive down to turn number 1. He has a 2-car length advantage. Alan Bose to P2.
That was a very slow restart here. Everybody goes down to the inside of the racetrack. That 88 way down low. He tries to get up in front of, and he will do so, passing the Oneida David Rattler. So Rattler restarted in P2 on the outside of the front row, was P2 for the majority of that first run on the race. And after 1 lap on a restart being on the outside lane, he's now back in P4, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel anytime soon, because that 36 Orion low to the inside in the fight for P4. Behind them, Cody Baez fighting with the 6 machine as well of Trey Edson.
as the 38 of Ryan Lowe looks to the inside of the 09 of David Rattler. One thing I want to point out, guys, this was just the first restart of the season. 217 consecutive green flag laps here in the Pro Series competition. I think we really need to applaud the drivers, and everybody starts to settle themselves single file. First battle on the track for P10, this the 23 of Brandon Hoff and the 40 of Josh Lawton.
I believe it, and Brian, I want to say whether it was this year or last year, there was a stretch at one point in not too distant NASCAR Beginner Series memory where you guys went just about 3 consecutive races without a caution flag. So it's not like these guys don't know how to do it. It's just that they have fun beating and banging on each other a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's fun, don't get me wrong, to race hard and, trade a little paint every now and then, especially at a track like this. You're not going as fast, and it's not as unpredictable when you do make contact. You can actually give the bumper to somebody, move them out of the way if they're holding you up, and vice versa. So it's creating a lot of excitement, and there's a lot of great battles around the 20th spot, 20th to 25th. There's a lot of action there.
Yeah, you talk about a guy who's making some moves now. The 51, the Monster Energy machine of Tyler Laughlin, up 12, started 32nd, has moved his way into the top 20 and making a charge for 19th. He and Dylan Jones have been going at it. The 51 and the 03 machines, that's a battle for 19th. Laughlin takes it.
And you talk about somebody that's back in traffic and not wasted any time. Laughlin started 32nd, so he's up 13 spots right now. He's not forcing the issue, though. He's got a fast car, but he's not throwing it down to the apron. He's keeping it up there right at his own line. Behind him, Alex Warren going to pass Dylan Jones as well. So Jones, who started P10, is only going backwards now, -12 from the start. And Laughlin trying to look to the inside of the 93 of Byron Daly. That would be for 18th. In front of them, a side-by-side fight. Outside lane is Justin Trombley, and inside is Logan Clampett, trying to go around 14 cars from the start of the race. He wants the 14th spot.
He does, and that battle is going to continue to rage on, and that's actually one of the few battles that we've got on the racetrack right now. Everybody has really stretched it out, Justin, at the front of the field, but it's these guys from about 12th on back that are really putting on the show.
Yeah, the 93 of Byron Daly, great job by him. Plus 21 from where he started, 38 to 17th. Moved around the 20 of Greg McKinney in a power move. Kind of got below him there in turn 4. It just kind of moved him up out of the way. Said, excuse me, pardon me, I'm coming through. And Daly sets his sights once again towards the 46 of the Dylan Rafferty. McKinney now tries to battle back around the outside of the 51 of Tyler Laughlin. Laughlin now stuck on the high side. He's got the 82 of Warren and the 03 of Dylan Jones working around him.
Those guys continue to fight. Dylan Jones, somebody who has been on the other end of the momentum swing tonight, Evan. He actually started top 10, has fallen now to 21st on the racetrack, and continues to be under attack.
Yeah, when Laughlin got around him, that made it -11. Now it's -12. He gets around the number 72 iSuperspeedway.com Chevy of Paul Kashiba. So Kashiba, another guy going the right direction. Started in 40th, he's 21st. Look in front of these guys, though. A log jam. Justin Trombley still on the outside of the racetrack. Going to go for Sim Racing Toyota. Inside to him goes Byron Daly, Greg McKinney. Then you got Warren, Laughlin, Kashiba. This is 6, 7, 8 drivers packed within half of a second with each other outside of the top 15 that are at each other's throats, and Kashiba's got a great view of it. He looks down to the inside as you go on board with that 72. Warren making a pass, Laughlin doing the same, and the 72 hopes to follow. 3 wide now, look to the middle. There goes Mitchell Hunt, the 17's in the fence.
Hang on tight. Everybody seems to work their way out of it for the moment. Laughlin using that high side momentum, and a guy just ahead of him that was making a couple of nice moves up through there. The 82 of Alex Warren making a charge. He's now up to the 18th position, and just ahead of them, the next driver in both Warren and Laughlin sights the 20 of Greg McKinney. That's going to be a battle for 17th as Laughlin dives through the dog leg to try and take that position. Take a look to the inside.
As these guys start to sort themselves out a little bit further back in the pack around the 20th spot. It is 3 and 4 wide now. 3 wide trouble! One car around. It's going to be the 12. That's going to be Kyle Putz in the 12 machine, and caution out on the speedway, lap 67.
So Putz goes around the second. Caution flag of the night comes out. Here was 67 of 156 complete at the Jewel in the Desert Phoenix International Raceway, and we had a 50-lap green flag run. You take a look at the replay, Evan, and now we're starting to see a little bit of the chaos.
And we rode on board with that 12 to start off the night, showing us what these guys would be dealing with. When he was out there, though, he didn't have to deal with 3 wide. He was in the middle again. This is that log jam that we were taking a look at, the Hornet's Nest, if you will. Outside was Team Evonen. Inside was Jacob Harbertson. When they went into the corner, the 99 Evonen kind of came down to follow the line of the 17. That was Trombley. Trombley was on the outside of a 2 wide fight in front of them. Problem is, if you're tracing the line of somebody that's 2 wide, you're going to run out of room. But unfortunately for the 12 machine, he had to come down once that 54 was there and the 99 was coming down on him, and he just wasn't able to get clear. A little bit of contact on the left rear of the race car. Everybody with a good job for the most part of getting around it. No real damage on that 12. However, the 7 and the 54 make contact. They get the worst end of it.
They do. Leaders are in. Brian Macklin, action in front of you.
More of the same for the 11 of Brad Davies. He's very happy with the car. Obviously, he's led every lap, and he's been the dominant car so far. He's going to get 4 tires and get some fuel in that car and get back out there and try to continue doing what he's been doing all night. A little bit further down pit road, the changes that we heard about for Adam Gilliland, they were a lot better than what he had in the previous run. He's looking for a little bit more of the same, going to try to get back up towards the front and maybe have a shot to get inside the top 20. And Andy, I think you've got a little bit of a report further down.
I do. The 42 of Dylan Duvall came down pit road, 4 tires, fuel, and they did a huge adjustment on that. They've been happy with the progress this car has made all race long here. Both stops, definitely going to take advantage of this one here. A great stop by that crew. They're going to get him out a pretty decent spot there. So Dylan Duvall still trying to make his way up from the front from 26th here tonight.
How about Alan Bowes winning the race off pit road? Lightning quick pit work for the 21 crew. We'll rehash the order right after this. From Phoenix International Raceway, you're watching iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. Championship leader has taken over. Vincent holds a 22.5-second. Welcome back to LSRTV and iRacing live coverage of round 2 of the 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series. Jacob Seelman, Justin Rosenau, Evan Pasoko, and Brian Blackford in the broadcast booth. Andy Kessler and Brian Macklin down on pit road tonight, and we're gearing up for restart number 2 of the evening here at the Phoenix International Raceway. Alan Bowes was your winner off the pit road. Brad Davies, who's had led all but one of the laps before Bowes took the lead. He's going to restart on the outside of the front row. Bowes with a great takeoff. We're back underway. Here was 71 of 156 complete. Right about at the halfway point of this race. That coming in about 6 more laps. Bowes with the great takeoff. Davies falls into second. Josh Berry, the first man on the move through the dogleg.
3 wide in third spot, and that was because of that 88, as you mentioned, Barry, way down low. Both of these guys split the 93 of Daly, who went backwards in the middle, but the winner, Ryan Lowe, top side, going to be the place to be, the number 38 Chevrolet. He slots up into third, Barry fourth, and Daly in P5. I'll tell you what, though, for Brad Davies, number 1 pit stall, normally a big advantage. He's able to get single fouled out in second. Now problems back in the field for the 55 car.
Yeah, Nick Furler around from 14th. That's going to be the third caution flag of the night here at Phoenix, and it comes on lap number 73. Put it out, turn number 2, the place to be, Justin.
Yeah, that certainly is not the place you want to be, especially if you're the 82 at Alex Warren. You had to come to a dead stop. Not too much damage for that Quarter Pipe Toyota, as well as the 55 and Nick Furler. Furler replay going up for you on the screen. Going to see what happened to the 55 of Furler, and you're going to see what happens when the 82 just about clips him. But tough luck for both drivers. They needed this quickie caution, though, because they can have a chance to come down, get 4 fresh ones, and get the flat spots off their tires.
And Jacob, as we saw there, that was that 3 wide situation again. It works on the dog leg, I'll give you that much. In turn 1, probably not so much. The 55 took a wide arc into the corner. Nick Furler had a close call on that last green flag run where he got sideways in 3, but saved it. Took it a little bit high into the corner, so the 44 Logan Clampett says, all right, I'll take your spot, slides in. Problem is the 55 didn't go that high. When Furler tried to come back, those were 3 drivers on each other's door. They ran out of room, and they all got turned around. Pretty big damage on the 44 Logan Clampett. It looks like the 51 of Laughlin maybe got a piece of it. I know Alex Warren, at least one of those drivers as well, that picks up some damage.
Yeah, indeed. Mitchell Hunt gets a piece of it as well in the 81 machine. This third caution of the race, though, going to pretty well take us to the halfway point of the night. So let's go ahead and while we're under caution, see if we can't run through an LSRTV midway race break out in front of the field. The 21 of Alan Bowes, the 11 of Brad Davies, who's led the most laps so far. In fact, led 67 of the first 68 laps of this race. Rides P2. Ryan Lowe in the 38 third. Josh Berry's Speedco machine fourth. And how about the run by the 93 of Byron Daly? Started 38th. He rides 5th right now on the racetrack. Our hard charger of the night to date. David Rattler, Josh Lawton, Trey Edson, Cody Bias, last week's winner, and Michael Johnson, the rest of the top 10.
11th spot at the moment is Adam Gilliland, so after being in P25 and slotting back at the end of that opening 50-lap stint, he's back into the positive and eyeing a top 10 spot. Behind him at 12th is the number 98 of Ryan Borges, back from starting in P5, but still a good run for the bar competition karting Chevrolet. Behind him is the 42 of Dylan Duval. He's up 13 spots in that 13th position. Brandon Hoff just behind him in 14th. 15th is Dylan Rafferty. Paul Kashiba from 40th to 16th on the racetrack. Behind him is Jeff Ramsdell in 17th. 18th is Nicholas Johnson. You have Greg McKinney in 19th and 20th position, 54 of Jacob Harberts.
21st going to go to the 99 of Tango Evonen. 91, Shane Doherty going to ride 22nd. 23rd to the 22 of Rob Ackley. The 14 of Robin Williams rides 24. 25th goes to the 7 of Billy Price. Sasha Wessler gets his lap back from an early race penalty. He's running 26. 27 to the 9 of Jason Jacoby. And 28th goes to the 17 of Justin Trombley. 37 of Stephen Gilbert rides 29th. And rounding out the top 30, the 03 of Dylan Jones.
31st, Alex Scribner in the 50. Thomas Davis rides 32nd. Brandon Schmidt is 33rd. Tyler Loff on the Monster Energy machine, 34th. Nick Furler, 35th. 36th to Kyle Putz after his spin in caution number 2. Logan Clampett, 37th. Alex Warren, 38th. Timmy Hill, Mitchell Hunt, 40th. Damon Burnett, 41st. Blake Bryant, 1 lap down, 42nd. Brian Day out of the race. That's a look at how they run on the racetrack, courtesy of LSRTV and iRacing, the world leader in motorsport simulation, here with 76 laps complete. Justin Rosenau, we're set for a restart, and Alan Bowes is set to try and take off like he did the last time. He had a lightning run on our most recent green flag.
Yeah, he did. He surprised everybody just before the green flag drop. Davies really kind of backed everybody up the first couple of restarts or so. Bowes kind of did a similar thing. He's kind of taken a note from Davies. Can Bowes do it again? The pace car gets set to dive to the safety of pit road. Field going to be in the hands of Alan Bowes once again. Bowes waits. Now he's on the loud pedal. Green flag back in the air. Great restart by the 21 of Bowes, but a little bit better one by the 11 of Brad Davies. Going to allow him to dive down to the bottom. Barry and Lowe battling side by side for third now out of 2.
Lowe, Berry, and Daly, those 3, 4, 5 cars at the moment, they've been all over each other on these last 2 restarts, and it's that number 93 of Daly behind them that's going backwards for the first time tonight after passing almost 33 drivers. Brad Davies, though, wants to go back to the race lead in this one. Again, found himself in second after losing the race lead on the pit lane to Alan Bowes. Bowes led us all the way through to the most recent caution flag, the 11, though. A big thing he had to do was make sure that nobody got to the inside of him. He did that, and he is all over the back bumper of that number 21 Toyota in front of him. Behind them, the winner in that fight will be Josh Berry. Berry's going to get third, and it is Lowe slotting back to fourth. Rattler trying to take fourth away as well.
And I'm telling you right now, the battle for the lead's starting to heat up again. Brad Davies really starting to put the pressure on Alan Bowes. That's a battle for the lead. Off turn 2 and into the dogleg. Davies took a look. Bowes slammed the door on him, and Josh Berry trying to make a run. About to be a 3-man fight for the lead.
The Speed Coast Chevrolet trying to find some speed here through the middle stages of the race, kind of presenting himself as a contender like he did last week at Texas. Berry starting to close the gap on Davies, and Davies himself closes the gap once again on Alan Bowes. Bowes and Davies have a 1 car length gap right now as they work out of turn number 2 and into the dog leg. Davies really starting to close that gap. Trouble turn 2 on the racetrack on here with caution flag on the speedway.
Scribner went around.
Alex Scribner in trouble, the 50 machine. He was riding 30th at the time, but the caution flag flies. 81 laps now going up on the board, so we are 75 remaining. And Scribner, Evan, tangled up and just couldn't hang on to it.
And it was the slightest bit of contact as they went down to turn number 1. So 1 is seeing a lot of contact tonight, but it was the 51 trying to make a move on the inside of the racetrack. As you mentioned, 50 machine was in 30th, and it was Laughlin in P31. Tried to go to the inside of the racetrack, pushed up a little bit of net coat as well on the left rear tire. The 50th Scribner gets loose, and the problem is when he tries to step it up the hill, he just runs out of room, eventually spins that car out. Good news is, because it was back in 30th, only about 8 or 7 drivers had to duck to the inside of the racetrack, so no additional damage for Alex Scribner. He is going to lose all of that track position as he falls all the way back to the back after having a rough start to this one. Race leaders down to the pit lane. Bowes is in. Trey Edson, the first driver to stay out, though. Top 5 cars come down.
Yeah, top 5 coming down. Kind of a split decision by a lot of guys. You see a bunch of cars staying out, but some of them trying to take advantage of this caution. Come down and get 4 tires. The 88 of Barry's in. The 11 of Brad Davies is in his pit box. Everybody coming down, 4 tires. They're going to get some fuel, maybe make a couple adjustments to see the wrench going in the back of the 38. Right side's only for the 38 of Ryan Lowe. He's going to make his way off of pit road. So some guys making 2, some making 4. It's a mixed strategy, Brian.
Yeah, the big surprising factor here was a lot of these guys that elected to stay out. It was a last-second decision for drivers Trey Edson, Joshua Lofton, and Adam Gillen, and the rest of these guys. They weren't sure what they were going to do until the rest of the leaders decided to come down pit road. Crew chief for the 6 machine for Trey Edson, he actually told him at the last second, we're going to keep seeing these cautions stay out there. We want to get the track position. So they're looking to try to hold on to this lead and hopefully have more cautions the way they've seen here in the most recent part of this race, and they can hold on to this track position and beat Brad Davies. These drivers realize they don't have the speed to beat him outright, so they're going to have to do something different and try to get him shuffled back and hopefully keep him back there.
How about the number of guys staying out? If you're Brad Davies and Alan Bowes, you just went from the front row to restarting 14th and 15th as they come off pit road. Unbelievable twist of fate here now, Evan. I think a lot more guys stayed on the racetrack than these guys expected were going to. That's a huge track position shuffle right there.
And Davies, again, that's a lose-lose situation. You get a couple of cautions. Would you like 4 tires every single time? Absolutely. You're not going to come down, though, every 5 laps if you get a caution flag, though. So for Davies as your leader, Jacob, if he stays out, it's just as easy for everybody else to come in, and then they run him over on the restart. So he falls to 14th. Probably not what he was hoping for. It could have been, though, a lot worse. That's a lot of guys staying out, though. This pit strategy was looking easy at that first caution because it came basically right at the 1/3 mark in the race. This, though, these string of caution flags in this second stint has really thrown a wrench into that one, and I don't think the pit strategy is going to be as easy as maybe we thought it would be after that great opening run, because now half the field's on one strategy, half the field's got fresh tires behind them, and this all varies now as the lights go on a pace car. If we go a couple of laps longer than we have in these most recent stints, try to bridge it to another yellow, the guys up front are hoping that they can stick out long enough so that when they come down, the guys behind them come down for the last stop of fuel also. If we get a couple of more short caution flags, Jacob, do our leaders stay out more, or do they come down and then the roles are reversed? It all going to depend on how long these green flag runs are. Nobody knows that, so it's a gamble by both groups.
It is, and only one of them's going to pay off. That's the key here, and they had to do something different. If they kept doing the same thing, they weren't going to beat Brad Davies and Alan Bowes. So this is at least your shot to maybe pull something off and be a little bit different here. At least have a shot to go to victory lane. And for the number 6 Toyota Camry, the Clemson entry of Trey Edson, he will lead the field back to the green flag for the first time tonight. 85 complete, 71 to go, and we're back underway as he gets a great jump over Josh Lawton. Cody Bias looking for P2. He'll have to fall into line and try to hold on to that third spot. Adam Gilliland, Dylan Duvall, they're all right there, 3 wide through the dog leg.
And that 27 machine started in third, running third right now as Gilliland gets to the bottom. May not be a lot. He's got some damage. More problems behind these guys, though. Caution back out. Everybody will shoot and scatter every which way. One car slow in the middle of the racetrack, and everybody tries to get around it. Big caution.
Looks like Rob Ackley was heavily involved. He was spinning out.
The 22 of Rob Ackley goes around, the 37 piles in, everybody gets woed up, and then other than those 2 cars, caution on the speedway, heavy damage for the 37 and the 22 of Rob Ackley.
While we're under caution, we're going to head to a commercial break, and we'll be back for the restart and more coverage of the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series right after this. Trey Edson, your leader, Josh Lawton, Cody Bias, Adam Gilliland, Dylan Duvall, the top 5 from Phoenix International Raceway. This is iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Championship leader has taken over.
Vincent holds a 22.5 second.
Rattler got a huge damage too.
It's been a very long offseason. Teams have changed, sponsors have changed, colors and all, but one thing that hasn't, they like to mash the loud pedal. Green flag is out on the 2015 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season.
iRacing is the ideal platform for these broadcasts because we have the best racers, the best online racers in the world, and we have such a variety of racing, from NASCAR to Grand Prix style racing, sports car endurance racing. We do it all.
Since 2010, the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series has been the absolute pinnacle of road racing in a simulated form. Great start then by Yakoda from the front. They're packing up behind number 1. They're going to be 4 wide as they come down into turn number 1 for the first time. Will they make it through that first corner? You can see them funneling through the center S's. It looks as though everyone is just about made it through. We have got ourselves some contact though, Rachel.
Side by side going into turns 3 and 4. Humpy's got the advantage, but Ottinger's not going to.
Oh, he got into him!
Ottinger gets into the 58, turns right into him, and that ends Ottinger's run.
We do a lot of live broadcasts now. Every Tuesday is NASCAR night, so on alternating Tuesdays we do the Peak Antifreeze Series. And on the other Tuesdays, the B-Class Series, which is the Xfinity cars, and sometimes we'll even do some short track racing depending on the schedule. Every other Saturday, we do the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, so the best road racers we have. And we also broadcast some special events.
Welcome back to LSRTV and iRacing Live coverage of the 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series from Phoenix International Raceway. Jacob Seelman, Evan Pasoko, Justin Rosenau, Brian Blackford in the broadcast tower tonight as we get set for a restart with 90 of 156 laps complete. There will be 66 to go when the Clemson Toyota of Trey Edson runs to the green flag. The Tigers #1 in the college football poll. Edson looking to put that car hopefully #1 at the end of the night tonight and pick up an iRacing Pro Series victory. He gets a great jump down into turns 1 and 2. Josh Lawton slots into second. The first battle for third between Adam Gilliland and Cody Bias. The 8 and the 27 going at it in the dogleg.
And the 27 doesn't go all that low, but he does dip that car below the yellow line to the dog leg, and it's the 8 car actually topside. Adam Gillen, a little bit of a tougher entry that time into the final corner. Gets a little bit wide, that opens up the door, and I think Bias going to make the move by the time they get back to turn #1. Behind these guys, Dylan Duvall for the first time tonight in a top 5 spot from P26, and Michael J. Johnson trying to take advantage of this strategy called Jacob. The 39 machine started P7, and he's in 6th right now, but he had fallen back through the course of the opening half of this race, hoping that this can get him back on track right now, and he's running top 10.
Man, how about the run for some of these guys who find themselves in the top 10 right now? 20th to 9th, Greg McKinney, Tyler Laughlin, 32nd. Actually, McKinney just got around Laughlin for the 8th spot. Laughlin, though, 32nd to 9th. McKinney, 20th to 8th. 24th to 7th for the 54 of Jacob Harbert. 25th to 4th for the 8 of Gilliland. 26th to 5th for Duvall. These guys really making a charge. And even Josh Lawton, 15th to 2nd right now.
And at 51, talking about Tyler Laughlin into the outside wall. Hard contact now at a turn #4. The caution flag will fly, and the big one at lap number 93. Tyler Laughlin, one of those drivers that we were talking about having such a good run, and the 2 guys below him making contact. That was the 2nd or 3rd time I saw the faster car in the 38 machine on the inside of Ryan Lowe give a tap to Greg McKinney. McKinney not on fresh tires, that 38 is. Unfortunately, Jacob Laughlin found himself on the outside of that fight and got sideways after those 2 cars inside of him had made contact. He spun it sideways, caught the fence, and that track, it tightens up out of that final turn. He comes down and he gets smoked by Jeff Ramsdell, and at least 5 other cars pile into that one.
So this is what really takes a big bite out of the field now and really going to shuffle things up. Brad Davies, the pole sitter, I think Evan managed to get through that deal. Jeff Ramsdell, one of those, though, I think got a huge piece of that mess.
He was that first driver that came in, and I mean, he smoked him. And for Davies, again, back here in traffic, Davies is in the same boat that Ryan Lowe is in. Lowe is a faster driver, trying to get around some slower cars that was using the bumper. It wasn't because those guys touched that we saw the caution. It was just a product of guys beating and banging and Laughlin being on the top side. But Davies was behind all of this in 14th position. He was on the inside of the racetrack, and when the contact happens, he was, I think, the 2nd to last driver to make it through before that 51 actually had come down and blocked the racetrack. So Brad Davies is good, and he picks up 4 spots in that exchange. He goes to 10th spot.
Leaders down pit road, led by the 6 of Trey Edson. Andy Kessler, they're in front of you.
Yeah, the 6, the 39, the 21, all coming down pit road. Surprised to see Alan Bowes back on pit road, but decided to take advantage of this pit stop or under caution here. So the 6 led the way down, decided to come down. We still had a few that decided to stay out on this round of pit stops, but a lot of action happening down here, lots of changes going on. How about it, Brian?
2 tires on the 11 for Brad Davies. He's trying to get his track position back. He was very upset that he lost that much track position. Had a little bit of a word with his crew chief because he didn't think that many cars were going to stay out. He told his crew chief if we had known that many guys were going to stay out, we would have stayed out too, trying to get back up towards the front with this 2-tire change. No adjustments to the car yet again. He's very happy with the car, just needs to get back up to the front.
So we circulate under caution, 96 laps complete, 60 laps remain now, Evan, and slowly but surely we're getting into crunch time here, even despite the fact that there's still about a third of this race to go. Now's the time when you got to start moving if you're going to move, and you got to start using these tires on whatever green flag laps you can get here.
And that's why those guys that had stayed out on that first swing of strategy about halfway through, they stayed out because they knew that these guys knew once you start counting up and you start counting down, these guys are going to give it a little bit more. There was actually a secondary accident in that caution flag that we didn't catch at first. Greg McKinney and the 38 of Ryan Lowe were clear. The 20 got sideways and took Ryan Lowe out, so both of those drivers have heavy damage. It looks like Ryan Lowe's night, his is done. He'll park it. So, Jacob, your lead might be growing in the fantasy, but there's still a lot still to be determined here at Phoenix, and it's getting exciting. I mean, things are shuffling up. Joshua Lawton's leading this race. Cody Bias is in second. He started in third, and Dylan Duval just behind him started in P26. So it's no longer your top 10 starters running top 10. Everything has gone haywire since the halfway point, and with just above 55 laps to go left in this race, going to be right at about lap 100 after we get back going here at lap number 99. It is only going to keep getting more exciting, and talk about clean air being good on a race car. I think just not having to deal with the other cars at all would be good on your race car trying to make it through this one.
Absolutely right. Brian Blackford, we took a chunk of them out right here. I know we're getting ready to come back to green, but, you know, this is a huge break for some of these guys like a Josh Berry or a Brad Davies, because now as we get ready for this restart, it brings those guys back towards the front of the field. It helps them make up some of that time they had lost.
Yeah, we've got a lot of guys up front still that have older tires, so that's going to be interesting to watch. There's a lot of guys that have damage up here, and it should be interesting to see how this all plays out. But Josh Lawton leads them to the green.
Yeah, Josh Lawton in a Toyota Camry brings them back to the green flag. The team, a Chevrolet for Cody Bias. The Infinite Creative Solutions, number 27, slots in line in second. Barry on the top side, trying to make it happen from the outside to go to 30. May have the momentum to do it. Off turn 2 and down the dog leg. That battle for third, though, going to rage just into turn 3.
Contact back, Team Evonin, 3 wide, 4 wide. Now the battle is for P6 on back, and the 21 in the middle of it all. Alan Bose trying to fight through. The 8, the 93 stuck topside, and somehow they single it out to just double wide. Now 6-5 rows deep to turn 1. Somehow all these cars pointed forward, and it started with a little bit of contact in the dog leg. Those guys that threw it down there found themselves on the inside of 3 and 4 wide. Great pizza driving for all of those drivers to keep them on track.
Somebody cue me an LSRTV replay, because I have no idea how that wasn't another parking lot. There's Laura Lawson replay right now. You'll see it on the other side of your screen. Right now, Evonin falling back. Just lost 11th position, about to lose 12th. He's got company on the inside off
roughed up.
54 and Jacob Harbers works to the inside, 3 and 4 wide just behind them. Harbers works to the inside of Evonin, 93 of Byron Daly, the 72 of Paul Kashiba, your peak Stock Car Dreams champion as well, and competed all the way down to the final 3 in that competition as well. He's involved in that battle. You got Harbers still working the inside of Evonin. Evonin still holding tough now on the high side out of turn 2. Daly still trying to work around the 72 of Kashiba.
And just behind them, the number 46 machine trying to get something going. So Rafferty to the inside of Timmy Hill. Timmy Hill, Josh Berry, the 2 drivers in this pro class from NASCAR's Top 3 National Touring Series. They're just a part of 3 and 4 side-by-side fights, and the most exciting one remains Jacob Harberts and Team Evonin spinning in front of these guys, going to hang on to it. The 3 of Brandon Schmidt is slowed on the outside of the racetrack. They go 4 wide to get around him. Everybody going to do so, but Schmidt really bombed the turn 1 entry. He got sideways. That cost him at least 10 spots.
And how about the battle now as Brad Davies takes second spot away from Cody Bias. Davies is on the march now. He's 3 car lengths behind Josh Lawton. Now inside of 55 laps to go. It'll be 52 to go when they come back to the start-finish line. Davies tracking down the race lead. It's a car length between he and Josh Lawton. Davies taking a peek to the inside. He wants the lead in 3 and 4. Not going to quite have enough steam to get it this time by, but he's already looking as they work off turn 4 down to the stripe. Battle for the lead towards turn 1.
Davies now firmly to the point with authority. That's tires versus no tires. Lawton relegated to second. Right behind them, the 27 of Cody Bias, the 88 of Josh Berry. Those two going wheel to wheel through the dog leg. Berry on fresher tires, Bias on older tires. That's a battle lost very easily by the 27 of Bias. Berry to third, Bias back to fourth. He's got a rearview mirror now full of Dylan Duvall.
Didn't I say keep an eye on Josh Berry? He's coming to life here in the closing laps. We know he's got fresher tires than Josh Lawton, and now Brian Blackford, the battle of tires starting to win out. These guys that pitted a little bit later starting to be able to make some moves, come towards the front. Josh Lawton a sitting duck at this point.
Yeah, but Josh, he's doing a great job. He's actually probably going to gain where he would have been if he would have pitted is way further back than where he is now. So this is a great strategy call, and it's working out for him right now. There's a lot of people that are getting in these accidents that are in the back of the pack that just can't get the track position, and they're racing really hard using their tires. They just can't get to the front, and Josh took the easy way. He just stayed out and got the lead. He's in clean air, and he doesn't have to worry so much.
Adam Gilliland, we're trying to figure out, all of us, I think, Justin, where he came back from. He's been from the front to the back to the front to the back so many times tonight, but he just took sixth away from Nick Furler, the 8 machine on the move.
Something must have happened on that gmercer.com Toyota, because that machine has come to life, got around the venerable Alan Bowes with authority around the outside, and got around Nick Furler, no problems there, and now he's got a sight set on the 42 with Dylan Duvall. Gilliland trying to crack the top 5, a 25th to 6th run at the moment. Alan Bowes still trying to work his way through traffic. Not quite as well as Gilliland, though, and also Trey Edson in that Clemson Toyota. He's starting to work his way back up the field.
Working his way forward, Trey Edson now back inside the top 10. Give a call to the 72 of Paul Kashiba, 40th to 12th right now, and closing in on the 54, Jacob Harbert. That's a battle just outside the top 10. Kashiba about a 10th faster than the 54 last time by. He's on the move.
And that's 72, one of the guys that has had a little bit of damage tonight. He's been back in the pack sideways in front of these guys. It looks like Michael J. Johnson is slowed. The number 39 machine had started in 7th, lost a lot of spots, got back into the top 10 by staying out. He got really sideways that time through turn number 1, and it looks like that 72 Apollo Kashiba going to make a move on him, so Johnson falls 2 spots in that exchange. The 54 machine, and as well the number 72. So Harberts and Kashiba, the 2 drivers that are able to make a move on him, falling back to B12 at the moment. Josh Berry, meanwhile, has been able to get around Joshua Lawton, so Lawton back to 3rd, and now it is Davies and Berry, 1-2, trying to pull away. Davies 1.5 seconds clear, though, from everybody else in the field as he comes across the stripe.
He comes across the stripe. We complete 111 of 156. 45 laps remain here in tonight's 250-kilometer spectacular from Phoenix. Now, Paul Kashiba closing in again on the 54, Jacob Harberts. How about the 39, though? Michael Johnson, that Toyota, back to the inside of the 72 of Kashiba, the iSuperspeedway.com Chevrolet, hung out on the outside, battle for the 11th position, working off turn 4, back down the front straightaway. Kashiba holds him off for the moment.
And as that battle wages on, got a battle shaping up for the 4th and 5th spots on the racetrack. Bowes trying to get around Duvall for 5th, and Duvall's trying to get around the 27 of Bias for 4th. And these guys all nose to tail, 5 cars, 6 cars now, throw them underneath the blanket. Bias trying to do everything he can to hold off Duvall, but Bowes on them fresher tires really going to have to start make things happen as the laps are starting to wind down, and really has to work hard to go chase down Brad Davies, because Davies already out 3 seconds over this group.
Man, Blackford, I can't help but think right now that actually the 27 of Cody Bias isn't holding these guys up just a little bit in that Infinite Creative Solutions Chevrolet. You know, he seems to be the anchor on this entire ship. These 4 guys behind him look to be a little bit faster. They want on by. Duvall wants by. He just can't find the room to race. That's opening the door for Bowes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Bias is on new tires or not, but he's hanging on for what he's got, and it looks like Duvall's had a heck of a race, and I'm hearing that Bias is on old tires. Duvall's been up and down. He started in the back. He's had to come through a lot of adversity, and Bose, he's got one of the best cars. He's in 6th, and he's really just trying to fight hard and get through this traffic. I think if he can go up there and challenge Brad, but as of right now, it looks like Brad Davies, if he's going to stay in clean air and keep the track position, he's going to be tough to deal with.
Now, finally, the look for Dylan Duvall to the inside of Cody Bias and clear. Move Duvall up a position, now into the 4th spot. Cody Bias back to 5th, and we are inside of 40 laps remaining, Evan. It's getting to crunch time.
Yeah, and P11 the place to be at the moment. At least that's where Michael J. Johnson is. He doesn't want to be there any longer. He wants to jump up to a top 10 spot. He's got to get around the 54 of Jacob Harberts to do so. And these guys will go side by side to turns number 3 and 4 as they try to get that final spot inside the top 10. And they have been on each other's door for 2-3 laps now. Small advantage in that time to the 54. As they fight, they're letting more guys, though, join the party because obviously you're not getting maximum lap times door to door. So that 72 of Paul Kashiba, he's up in a fight as well. In front of those guys, you talked about Dylan Duvall making a pass on, the 21 of Alan Bose as well. He's trying to make a move, the 8 of Gilliland here, but that 27 of Cody Bias inside of the top 5. He's going backwards in contact with the 8, not going to help at all. So Bias from P number 4, looks like he'll be P9 by the time he gets to turn 2.
And now 37 laps to go when they get back to the line here at Phoenix, and we're going to take our final commercial break of the evening and actually go LSRTV side by side, so you won't miss a thing. Brad Davies back out front where he spent most of this night. He dominates over Josh Berry as we close in on the finish from Phoenix International Raceway. You're watching iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. Welcome back to LSRTV. Caution flag out here at Phoenix. We'll cover that in a moment. Right now, though, Andy Kessler, leaders are in. Final stops underway.
Final stops are underway. All the leaders come down pit road, led by Brad Davies. Been the fastest car all night long, the most dominant car, even back in traffic, was able to pull through. No changes on that thing, just 4 tires of fuel, 2 tires for the 6 car. The 27 took 2 tires, and they're all off and running. Josh Berry beats them out. A lot of action down your way too, Brian.
Yeah, Josh Berry was one of the guys that elected to take 4 tires. The only 2 I saw on pit road that took 2 tires were Trey Edson and Cody Bias, trying to get that track position for what they believe could be their final stop of the night. If this thing stays green, they're not coming back to pit road. They've got the fuel to make it to the end. Now they're just hoping they've got the car to hold off Brad Davies. They were expecting a few more guys to take 2 tires with them, so this is going to be a little bit harder of a battle than they thought it was going to be, but it's going to be really interesting to see what these guys can do.
Oh boy, Brian Blackford, driver analyst extraordinaire for the week. If you're these leaders, boy, now what are you thinking here with 30, going to be about 30 to go when we get the green? I mean, can 2 tires really hold on that long?
I have a hard time believing it can hold on to the lead that long, but Trey, it's so funny. He's been known to do this. I've been racing with him for over 10 years now, and he's still the guy who mixes up the pit strategy and screws it up for everybody else and gets you thinking, oh, I should have done that or I should have done this, So it's really cool to see Trey out here and still working his pit strategy. It probably won't work out for the win, but you've got a lot of fast cars behind him. But you never know. If this thing has a rash of cautions, this is how a lot of guys won races last season. Alex Warren comes to mind at Charlotte in the NASCAR PK Prix Series. He stayed out with about 20 to go at Charlotte, and they just kept wrecking behind him. So you never know. Things like this could play out and in your favor, and this is a huge step towards guaranteeing your spot in next year's field.
It really is, and regardless of whether the strategy works out or not, Justin, these are the kind of calls you need to make to win races. That Clemson Toyota for Trey Edson, he knew this was about his only realistic shot to win this race. Why not take it? You're still probably going to get a solid top 10 out of this regardless.
Yeah, and if you're Trey Edson, you really have to think about it. Brad Davies has been the car to beat, and if you get a rash of cautions, you're still out there on 2 tires. As long as you don't spin them on a restart and you remain the control car, it's pretty much yours to lose. And from there on, it's really kind of a good strategy to play. If you're Josh Berry and the rest of the gang on 4 tires, you really hope Cody Bias stacks the outside lineup here on this restart as we get ready to go green.
Yeah, restart's coming. It's going to be all about who can get track position right here. And as we work off turn number 4, pace car to pit road, game on at the front of the field. 31 laps to glory, green flag flies, and we are underway. Front row gets a halfway decent restart. In fact, the 6 gets down to the bottom. Bias can't get there. Here comes Berry for P2.
And that 88 thought about throwing it in there to him. Look how low the 21 of Alan Bowes goes. The left side of that car just about scraping the inside fence, trying to get everything out of it. He'll be able to force the side-by-side for P4. In front of them, though, Berry, he'll outwork the 27 of Bias, and that opens up the door for the 11 of Brad Davies. Davies wants to claim what he thinks has rightfully been his fastest car all night long, now back to P3.
How about that cut from the outside to the inside by Davies, Blackford? That was a solid switch over, and it gave him that 3rd position. That was a power move.
Oh yeah, that's what you call getting it. he was down there pretty low, so he's looking for 2nd place here. I think he's gonna take his time. He knows he's got plenty of laps. He doesn't want the caution to come out, obviously, but he's going to probably follow Berry through if he can, and then handle Berry on his own.
Battle for the lead, down the dog leg and into turn number 3. Josh Berry to the inside of the 6 of Trey Edson. He'll move on up the racetrack. Berry to the point. Davies coming through for 2nd. Now Davies trying to take a look. Almost 3 wide for the lead as they work across the stripe. Berry leads lap 128. Davies slots into 2nd, but Davies was taking a peek. He wants the lead off turn number 2.
You gotta think there's too much room on this racetrack for that number 88 to stay in front of Brad Davies, because the 11 machine, he almost made it 3 wide. So Josh Berry, his attention focused on the 6 machine. Justin at 11 almost snooked to the bottom. He leads it, though. The gap between the top 2 just 2 car lengths down into the final few laps.
Yeah, and if you're these guys, you made adjustments to try to make your car better on the short run, and Davies had the best long run car and short run car in the early stages. It's anybody's guess with all the rubber laid down on the track at the moment. The 21 of Alan Bowes closes now on the 6 of Trey Edson. Bowes looking to the high side. He's going to try to put the move on Edson now out of 4. Crosses him over. Now looks to the inside. Battle for P3 across the stripe. Edson going to edge him out just slightly. Now Bowes to the inside. Wheel to wheel in 1 and 2.
Kessler, what are they saying on the radio for the 88 of Berry? Does he have enough to hold on?
They're hoping he does right now, but the problem is that 11 car's been too fast. They're hoping if they can hold their line, keep it on that bottom side, hopefully try to get better drive off the corner than him. They like what they're seeing right now. It's always better to be in that top spot, but they're hoping this thing stays green.
All right, Blackford, if you're the 11 of Brad Davies, when do you get fed up and maybe try to lay the bumper to him?
You don't quite pull that move yet, because you never know. There might be a caution and then a restart, and then he's going to try to put the bumper to you, and that's just an escalation of violence. You don't really want that at this point. So if he holds him up much longer, though, about another 10 laps or so, you might consider it, just because Josh is doing all he can to protect that spot, and he knows at this point Brad might lay the bumper to him, and he's probably not going to be too upset about it. I mean, the guy works on his team at Junior Motorsports.
This is very true. These two do have a prior relationship away from the sim, so you got to stop and consider what they're racing for. It's not just for the win tonight, it's pride going the rest of this week. Barry leads it, Davies wants it. We're 22 laps from the finish as they work through the dog leg, and Brian Macklin, I imagine the 11 of Brad Davies sizing him up. He's waiting, trying to be as patient as he can, but knows he still has the car to go and win this race.
Yeah, his crew chief keeps talking to him, telling him, take your time, you've got plenty of laps, you don't need to rush it and overdrive the cars. Actually, he's looking to the inside now for the lead, and it looks like Josh Berry's going to just give it to him, and now we have a new leader, Brad Davies, to the point.
I think that was basically a concession right there, Evan, of okay, I fought the good fight, but there's just nothing left. I think that was basically Barry saying, I got nothing for you, go take it.
Yeah, and I mean, he could have forced that battle down to turn one, stayed on the outside of the racetrack, but again, realistically speaking, on the tire strategy that everybody's working, drops back into second. You don't have to worry about losing additional time. But Brad Davies, again, he was on a mission on that restart. I'll tell you what, he led those first 50 laps by a lot, and he feels that this was his race. If he doesn't win this race, he feels like it's probably not gone the way it should have, because he has been by far and large the best driver, trying to pull out and away, and with this time by just 20 laps to go at Phoenix, it is old Brad Davies in front of the field.
Looks like Adam Gilliland got really loose off turn 4.
And a lot of guys going at it just outside the top 10. The 46, Dylan Rafferty, the 82 of Alex Warren. They're both thinking about passing each other, if not trying to get the 93 of Byron Daly involved. They'll single file things out by the time they get to turns number 3 and 4. A lot of guys don't know that with inside of 20 laps to go, they're eyeing maybe the next 2-3 drivers in front of them, knowing that if they've got a shot at anything else, it's those guys.
So Davies starting to pull it out now. Half a second and growing over the 88 of Josh Berry. That continues to be the fight. But lead caution flag flies. This changes a lot.
Adam Gilliland, I
and
think
here
he
in
got
the 8
turned off
machine.
turn 2.
And that's a tough break, because we were talking about Gilliland, how good he had been doing, and then, you know, the problems that he had tonight, the gburster.com Camry, and then things just starting to improve, Brian, and it looked like it was the fence down in turn 1, and I think he was in a fight with Paul Kashiba when he got with that contact.
Yeah, he was just trying to clear the 72 of Paul Kashiba off turn 4, and he had him cleared, but he ran into the wall, and I think Paul got into the back of him a little bit, so that's unfortunate. He had a really great run going, and it was a great recovery from what had happened earlier in the race. So tough break for him and Paul Kashiba in the 72.
Under caution now, and now it's really a game of what do you do. Track position, I know, is everything right now. Kessler, any takers on pit road?
Yeah, the 54 of Jacob Harberts is the first one to come down pit road. He's deciding to make it happen. He comes down in the, he was in the 8th spot, around the top 10 right there when he came down pit road. So Jacob Harberts coming down pit road. He's going to get his 4 tires. He's going to get some fuel in this. A bunch of guys behind him obviously coming down also. Once somebody opens the gates, they all start to come. So he's getting 4 tires. He's off and running. Brian?
Cody Bias is another one of those drivers that came down. He's going to get 4 tires and fuel. He's had an up and down night tonight. He's been as high as 2nd, and he's been back as far around as the 25th position. Not very happy with his car. He has a lot of damage on the car after contact with Adam Gilliland a little while ago. He's looking to get a little bit of damage fixed on this car. He's not worried about the track position at this point. Just going to sit there and try to get as much damage fixed as possible so he can go out there and make a charge in this last 15, 16 laps of this race.
Anybody with tires, Blackford, are you buying that they can do anything, you know, maybe get back to the top 10 here in the last few laps, but that's about it? We know there's no way they can get back to the leaders. It's just too much track position to overcome.
Yeah, I don't. They're not gonna get back to the leaders unless something really crazy happens up front, which is not out of the question. But I just don't. I don't think that they'll be able to get back to the top 5, but maybe get a top 10 out of it. It really just depends on what happens in front of them. You have new tires, but at this track, it's not so much of an advantage because just everybody's running so close, and you're braking. People can really screw up your entry and middle parts of the turn, and you just struggle to get runs on people here, even with newer tires. So it'll be tough for them to make up track position, but it was probably the best call for them in that situation. So. But then at the same time, you've got guys who had damage behind them that are throwing caution to the wind and just staying out. So they're going to get in the way too. So there's a lot of things you got to take into consideration when you make calls like that. But these guys are all smart. They know what's going on. So they probably made the best call for them.
14 laps to go. I want a lightning round around the booth right here. Evan, then Justin, then Brian. My question is simple. Have we seen the last caution?
I want to say that we have, but I think with these guys on fresh tires, guys on old tires, I don't think we have quite yet. I'll tell you this much. I do think Brad Davies is going to be the driver that wins this race. That's all I can guarantee.
Yeah, I'll go with it. Sorry, I was just going to say no, and Davies for the win.
I'll say no as well. I'm pretty sure these guys back around 17th, 18th, they're struggling and trying to get all they can. So it's going to be tougher to keep this one green.
I'm the only one that believes we can go green to the finish, but I agree with everybody. Brad Davies for the checkered flag. We got 14 miles to determine a winner here in the desert. Phoenix going to be the site of a barn burner tonight as they work off turn 4 of the American Childhood Cancer Association pace car heads for the safety of pit lane, and Brad Davies back on the loud pedal. Green flag flies. We're 14 to go. Davies out ahead of Barry. They slot into top 2. Alan Bowes going for 3rd, side by side with Duvall in turn 1.
Duvall trying to get a podium spot in this one. To 42 goes topside, and Bowes, he did last time, so far low. He gains a car length and then some to turns 3 and 4. So Bowes is going to be able to take that number 2 spot from Duvall, or rather the number 3 spot in the 42, though fighting back outside the corner. They stay on each other's door. The top 2 single filed out in front of them. I'll tell you what, though, P15, they're 3 wide down to turn 1.
That's a battle around the 46 of Dylan Rafferty. Team Huey Bonin is there. Thomas Davis right behind them. Jacob Harbert's right ahead of them. That's a hornet's nest down the back straightaway headed for turn 3. They still can't settle it out.
2 wide, 2 rows deep for P3 and P5. Bowes loses the ground to 42 with Dylan Duvall. Finally, solidly takes the 3rd spot away. Right behind them, the 40 of Josh Lawton. The 6 of Oh, trouble! Lawton locks it up, saves it, gathers it back up, but very slow, causing a big stack up now. 3 wide, 4 wide, coming through the dog leg.
Yeah, Lawton was 5th. I think he's going to be about 20th when they come back to the line for 11 laps to go. Davies not getting away. Barry is keeping him honest, but the gap now up just over a quarter of a second. We'll call it 3 car lengths in 1 and 2. Next time by, it'll be 10 laps to go. We were talking about Lawton. I just about called it, from 5th to 21st after that stack up.
Nick Furler's at a fun spot right now. The number 55 machine, 3 wide. There's contact. The 82 of Alex Warren. He gets hit in quarter 4. Up and around. There's the caution flag. Hard into the outside wall. Joining him up there, Team Huey Vonin. The 99 as well. Split around backwards and in the fence. And that will be your final caution flag on the evening. And it'll leave us with 1 more restart to go after it all breaks out from that 3 wide in 3 and 4.
Don't be so sure about that. Keep in mind, Evan, we're going to have 6 laps to go when we get back racing. That does give us space for a caution and maybe a 1 or 2 lap dash. I hate to be that guy and say it, but it's possible.
This caution coming right at lap 146, so the good news for these guys is they catch the pace car right away down to turn 1. You figure if they can get back green with 6 laps to go, as long as they don't junk it on the first lap, it would probably end it if we see the caution again. There's no green-white checker system in the iRacing service. Underneath 5/4 laps to go, it can vary depending on lap cars. That is the cutoff, but Good news, bad news for Brad Davies. I mean, he had the gap. He was pulling away. He does have to deal with another restart, but it does give him, I guess, less laps to make a mistake, Jacob, because I feel with that gap back to the 88, that was a gap that is not going to let the 88 of Josh Berry catch him unless he made a mistake. So there's less green flag laps to make a mistake, less green flag laps for somebody to catch you, but you do have to go through another restart, and based on what we've seen, I don't even know if you're comfortable up front. He just needs to nail it, though.
Blackford, you were talking about maybe new tires not making a lot of a difference. How about Jacob Harberts, though? Restarted 15th on 4 fresh Goodyear Virtual Racing Eagles, up to 8th, and going to restart in a pretty good spot on the outside here with about 6 laps left to do something with it.
Yeah, a lot of guys in front of him, they were overdriving on old tires, and he did a great job managing his car through traffic, putting it in the right spots. He took Byron Daly and the 90 of, I believe, who is that? Nicholas Johnson, 3 wide on the front stretch, and did it with authority. He was digging there, so that's pretty cool to see. Tough break for those guys. Timu even in, and a couple of those guys who got caught up in that wreck, but it really truly is heartbreaking to get caught up in a wreck this late. So everybody's gonna try to be as aggressive as they can, but try not to go too far.
I want to give a call to the Clemson Toyota. Trey Edson's still hanging on up there on 2 tires in 5th. I mean, he knew it wasn't going to be a race-winning call, but it put him out front to lead some laps, and he's really in position, Evan, for a solid finish tonight. He's done a great job up front.
There's a lot of guys that have gone through a lot tonight and end up good, and you just look at the plus-minus interval alone on a guy like Dylan Duvall, who has passed 23 drivers to get to 3rd, or Timmy Hill, who has passed upwards of 27 drivers to get to 7th position right now. You got Harberts, you have a whole lot of other guys that have made a lot of headway from the start of this race, and Kashiba rating that conversation up 30 spots from 40th in a top 10 running position right now. Nothing is guaranteed yet, though, because you might have passed 30 drivers, Jacob, but with 27 left on the lead lap, there's still plenty of spots to lose, and the lights are going to go off for the pace car and leave us with 6 laps to go at Phoenix for what could be the final restart on the evening, and Brad Davies will be in control of it.
Oh, this is going to be fun. Davies trying to win a race where he has dominated tonight. Berry trying to steal a win away. Dylan Duvall is still up there. Alan Bowes has been strong. Brad Davies didn't even run Texas, and he's trying to put himself in position for a win tonight, get himself back in the conversation to move back into the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. From the outhouse to the penthouse, we'll see in about 6 more laps. Brad Davies, Josh Berry lead the field off turn 4. The American Childhood Cancer Awareness pace car to pit road. Green flag flies 6 miles from home. Davies gets a great jump, and Bowes right there on top side in 3rd.
The top 4 get single filed out. That means P5 on back. They're still doubled up, at least 6-7 rows deep. 3 wide now to the inside of the racetrack. Look at Dylan Rafferty. He goes to the bottom of the one at Timmy Hill, and that leaves that 54 of Harbert's top side. Do they have enough room? There's the contact. The 54 gets tagged. Looks like they hang on for now.
They hang on for now. 5 laps to go up the front of the field. Bowes with just enough pressure on Josh Berry that it allowed the 11 of Brad Davies to get away to a 3-car length lead. Caution flag, maybe not yet, Evan. Trouble, though. Back turn 2.
And it's Cody Bias, Justin.
Yeah, Cody Bias got the wrong end of that and got spun, saved it. Still green on the racetrack at the moment. Everybody trying to settle in for one last guess. It's time to win it or wear it. And Berry trying to hold off the 21 of Bowes, the 42 of Duvall. And while we say all of that, the 11 of Brad Davies, hello, goodbye, I am gone. He's out over a half second over Josh Berry.
Again, Brad Davies trying to make it happen after not even being in the field last week. That Chevrolet is coming to the flag this time. 3 laps of racing remain. The battle, though, is on for second as Alan Bowes looks to close, try and make something happen on Josh Berry, but he's got pressure from Dylan Duvall for 3rd and 1.
And once that 21 got to P3, I was looking for the dive to the inside on that apron there on the back straight with the dog leg, trying to get for second. Realistically, he doesn't go for it, though. So he's third and fourth. It's Bose Duval Rafferty in fifth at the moment. Behind them, Eidson trying to hold off Michael J. Johnson and company. And it actually looks like Trey Edson going backwards. Johnson makes the move. And Nicholas Johnson now to the inside of the racetrack, trying to get another spot on him. Jacob with 2 laps to go. Right now for Brad Davies, you're talking about a lights-out performance. And no, not the Camping World Trucks here at Phoenix a couple of years ago rather, but for Brad Davies, this is exactly where he deserves to be after the race he's ran.
Oh man, he's had a fantastic performance tonight as he works off turn number 4. He'll see the white flag this time by, and that's going to be the flag of surrender for the rest of the field. There has been nobody that's been able to touch this Chevrolet tonight. He works through the dogleg for the final time from the outhouse to the penthouse. Brad Davies doesn't compete in Texas last week. He works off turn 4, and Brad Davies is going to win in convincing fashion at Phoenix.
And that's a pretty good batting percentage, 1 for 1. Brad Davies getting the job done. Phoenix, not going to be his drop week. A great performance. Led us to the green flag to start. He led us through that final restart, and there were other guys that led, and there was a lot of strategy in this one, but Brad Davies 100% earned that victory. By far and large, the fastest driver here tonight for round 2.
Absolutely. Davies over Barry for the win, and the iRaceforLife.org Chevrolet SS he's earned the right to blow this one down and burn it down on the front straightaway, because he is a winner in the Pro Series. Once again, 4-time NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series winner, picks up the victory tonight in Phoenix, and we'll hear from him when we come back to the LSRTV post-race show. You're watching iRacing Live and LSRTV. Brad Davies, your winner in Phoenix. We'll be back right after this.
Championship leader has taken over.
Vincent holds a 22.5 seconds.
It's been a very long offseason. Teams have changed, sponsors have changed, colors and all, but one thing that hasn't, they like to mash the loud pedal. Green flag is out on the 2015 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season.
iRacing is the ideal platform for these broadcasts because we have the best racers, the best online racers in the world, and we have such a variety of racing, from NASCAR to Grand Prix style racing, sports car endurance racing. We do it all.
Since 2010, the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series has been the absolute pinnacle of road racing in a simulated form. Great start then by Yakoda from the front. They're packing up behind number 1. They're going to be 4 wide as they come down into turn number 1 for the first time. Will they make it through that first corner? You can see them funneling through the center S's. It looks as though everyone is just about made it through. We have got ourselves some contact though, Rachel.
Side by side going into turns 3 and 4. Humpy's got the advantage, but Ottinger's not going to.
Oh, he got into it!
Ottinger gets into the 58, turns right into him, and that ends Ottinger's run.
We do a lot of live broadcasts now. Every Tuesday is NASCAR night, so on alternating Tuesdays we do the Peak Antifreeze Series, and on the other Tuesdays the B-Class Series, which is the Xfinity cars, and sometimes we'll even do some short track racing depending on the schedule. Every other Saturday we do the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, so the best road racers we have. And we also broadcast some special events, including the Endurance Championship, which is part of the Road Warrior Series. So we broadcast the Daytona 24, the Sebring 12-hour, we'll do the Watkins Glen 6-hour, several other races along there. And then, of course, the iRacing Pro Racing Champions, which is usually our biggest and most watched event of the year.
That is short track racing, and that's how awesome this sim is, Joe. That's something you see on TV on highlight reels, and we just saw it here, live.
We invite iRacers who are real-world racers, and they compete every December. Guys like Alex Gurney, Justin Wilson, Scott Speed, Ron Capps, the list goes on. Really some big-name drivers from all major forms of motorsport. It's really neat to see them get together and race together.
See Laughlin up top, down to the ball, gets turned! Laughlin gets turned! Caution is out foul at the front of the field!
The easiest place to find the broadcast is on our website, iRacing.com/live. So you can find some of our races on fanschoice.tv as well. A nice place to find iRacing broadcasts.
You can also find it at MRN.com and peakauto.com.
We welcome you back live to the virtual Phoenix International Raceway post-race for round 2. You're taking a look at some of the exciting action there from the closing laps of this Phoenix 250. 3 and 4 wide, and a lot of it in that 6-lap dash to the checkered flag. Brad Davies, the first person to come back around in his first start on the 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series schedule. Justin picks up the checkered flag, and again, as we said before, just such a strong run for that number 11. Qualified on pole, bested anybody else closest to him by a couple of hundredths of a second, and was a tenth of a second faster than all of the drivers outside of the top 3. So we knew he had the single run speed, but I mean, throughout all of this one, through the cautions, some late race carnage and all of that on top of it, for him to be able to end up in the right spot at the right time and drive his way through, a great win for Brad Davies going into Homestead in 1 week's time.
Yeah, great run by the driver that missed Texas, going from the outhouse to the penthouse, as Jacob said. And how about Josh Berry backing up his performance from Texas with a third-place finish last week, finishes runner-up this week, and the 21 of Alan Bowes kind of repeating his performance from Texas. So those two drivers solidifying themselves, along with the 42 of Dylan Duvall, who finished 4th. The 46 of Dylan Rafferty gets a rebound from Texas. He finishes 5th. And if you got a feel for Cody Bias in that 4-wide melee, finishes 22nd after winning last week at Texas. Tough luck for that driver from the team.
And to get the post-race festivities kicked off, caught up on the pit lane with the driver that comes home in third place tonight. It's a P3 for the driver of the number 21 machine, Alan Bowes, with a very strong run tonight, and we've caught up with him here post-race at Phoenix. Alan, first off, congratulations to you. You walk away with a podium finish after this one, and you started in P8. So through a lot of it all, top 10 car, you come home P3, but that car stayed clean through 156 laps tonight. It was quite an exciting one, though, from lap 50 on. Talk us through the strategy that you used to get the good finish.
Well, we pretty much just followed what Davies was doing. I mean, definitely had the car to beat, and we felt like if we could just kind of stay on the same strategy as him, that we'd be okay. But, you know, Dustin Lingard, he put together a really good car. He puts in a lot of work each week, so definitely got to thank him for that. But, you know, Ian for spotting. Yeah, there were quite a few points in that race where if I didn't have a spotter, I may have been on the trailer back to the garage. But, you know, thankfully for that, we were able to avoid most of the carnage and come away with a pretty clean P3.
I'm surprised that the left side of that race car not scraped up a little bit, because you were using every single inch of that dog leg on a couple of those restarts. And that's one of the things we were talking about tonight, the difference between the old Phoenix on the service, obviously the relatively newer one here with that open dog leg. You were taking a lot of use of that on the restarts on that race. And Josh Berry fighting up there with Brad Davies. You come home third to him by 0.2 of a second. Was that an option to really give her one more big go at it there at the end, or really after a couple of laps from the green flag, is that just not a realistic option?
Well, it depends on the kind of run that you get out of too. If you get a good enough run, you could probably get to the inside of them before you get there, and then, just slam it to the inside and hope that you clear them by the time that you get into 3. But it's definitely an option, but sometimes you got to be really careful with that. It could tear your car up, and it does wear the tires just a little bit more than if you don't take the dog leg. But hopefully next week we'll be able to beat Barry and stay in front of Duval. It's the second week in a row that I've been sandwiched in between the both of them.
Yeah, I was just about to say that last week it was Barry second, you third, Duval in fourth, and it's the exact same thing tonight. So safe to say, a pretty good start for you guys for your 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com series campaign. It's a 9-race season this time around. 1 race off it. It's not going to be Dover this season, but these first 7 races, they have 1 drop week. So you got 2 out of the way with top 3 finishes. It's looking pretty good. Homestead typically reserved for the season finale, and that's where you guys will be going to in 1 week's time. Going to be our second intermediate racetrack on the season, but Homestead much different from Texas. What's going to be the game plan for the 21 machine going into race number 3, trying to keep up the strong momentum you guys have built upon tonight?
Really, it's going to be no different than what it was at Texas. Just stay clean and kind of play it by ear throughout the race. If a strategy looks like it's going to work, then we'll use that, or, just got to stay clean. That's really the only strategy that you really can have going into a race. If you can't stay clean, then you can't really finish up inside the top 10 consistently.
You guys have been consistent so far this season, a top 10 starting spot and another third place result 2 weeks in a row to get this campaign kicked off. Alan, sponsors, shout outs, any of those good people behind the scenes you want to give a call to while we got you here down on pit road?
Well, I got to thank Drac and Tech again. They've been through a lot with me throughout Impasse, and then they came back aboard for the Pro Series. Very, very thankful for that. And it seems like now we're finally able to get some momentum on our side and get some TV time for them. So, if you guys got to head over, or if you guys head over to dracandtech.com, you can get a pretty awesome paint scheme. I got to thank RIR Chevette. As I mentioned earlier, Ian does quite a bit of spotting for me, and without that, I probably would have been wrecked tonight. And then got to thank Checker Flag Interactive as well. Got to thank my team, Dead Zone Racing, and my teammates, Jeff Ramsdell, Blake Bryant, Logan Clampett, Brandon Huff, Shane Doherty, Dustin Lingard again. Those guys, they do a lot of work, and I wouldn't be here without them.
Well, Alan, thanks for sticking around and chat with us. Again, congratulations to you on a solid finish here tonight. We wish you the best of luck, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday night from Homestead.
Yep.
That is your third place finisher tonight, guys. And again, as Alan had mentioned there, Josh Berry, Alan Bowes, Dylan Duval come home second, third, and fourth tonight, just as they did 1 week ago at Texas.
Next up on the docket, going to be the driver of the number 42, Dylan Duval. You come home fourth, battle with Alan Bowes late in the race. Dylan, I know that was not necessarily a finish you were looking for, but Brad Davies sure seemed like he had the car to beat. How far off were you from being able to run up front and take the win away from Davies?
Brad was just on his own level. He was insane. I don't think anyone really expected him to come out here and do that, but he did. It was really impressive. But I don't know. I don't think we really had anything for him, but I think I had something for Bowes and maybe Barry, just depending on how the laps went. But all in all, really good effort by everyone tonight. Coming into this race, I was just hoping for a top 20 or so, and to come out with a fourth is just unbelievable.
4 drops are even considered. I mean, it's too early in the game for that. You're provisionally, I believe, P3 in points exiting this race going towards Homestead. How does that feel, especially knowing that you still have a drop you can use later on in the year?
Oh, it feels great. I've never had this good of a start to a pro season, so it's great to have that and have momentum on my side. I'm excited to actually be able to race Homestead this year because the other 2 years I was in pro, I was suspended for the Homestead race. So it's gonna be my first time there in a pro race, and it should be exciting.
As for that, looking up forward to Homestead, another intermediate track like Evan said, Bose did very well. You ran very well at Texas. What's your outlook for Homestead? You said, you were suspended last year. Can you put it in victory lane next week and really kind of assert your dominance in the Pro Series?
I don't know. I think going for a win or saying I have a shot at a win would be a long shot. Coming into this race, for example, this is my worst track on the schedule, in my opinion. So I was shocked to get a fourth. So I'm not gonna keep anything out of the question for Homestead. I'm just gonna go in there with the same goal I did here and hope for a clean race, a top 20, no incidents, and move on to the next race.
For what it's worth, Dylan, a great run by yourself, and congratulations on that. P3 in points, just 6 points off leader Josh Berry exiting this race. Who makes it happen for you? You can't do it by yourself, Dylan, on the 42.
Oh no, there's a whole bunch of people who put effort into this. Brandon Hawk Racing, the primary sponsor on the car. Check out his Facebook page when you get a minute. Some interesting stuff on there. Infinite Creative Solutions, iCar Racing League, which is a league that races on Thursday nights. It's a great group of guys, so if you're looking for something to do, make sure you check them out. Come race with us, it's fun. Tim's Corner Motorsports, and everyone on HPM and the team. Everyone's put in a huge amount of effort this week, and it's really paid off. Some of the guys didn't get the best of finishes, but I mean, that's just the way this racing goes sometimes. And I think it's really impressive to see what we've done these first 2 weeks, and I hope to keep doing it throughout the rest of the season.
Congratulations, Dylan. And now on down to Gatorade Victory Lane with the winner of the Phoenix 250K, Brad Davies, alongside alongside our own Jacob Seelman.
Yeah, trackside and Gatorade Victory Lane. Brad Davies picked up a win in the Pro Series last year, backs it up with another victory here in his first start of 2015, and boy, it was nothing short, Brad, of a dominating performance tonight. When you were out front, you were nothing but brilliant. Josh tried to put a little bit of pressure on you there towards the tail end, but, you just pulled away on that last restart. What was the difference? What made your car so good tonight?
I wish I knew, actually. I'm kind of flabbergasted, to be honest. I don't know where that came from. I had the day off yesterday from work, and I put a few hours into the setup and came up with something that felt really good. But I had nobody to gauge myself against. I didn't have any teammates or anything helping me this week work on anything. So I put 2 or 3 hours in yesterday and came up with something really good based off of a Loudon setup or New Hampshire setup that I made about 4 or 5 months ago. Ran it in a race. I wasn't the fastest car, but it felt pretty good, and I finished top 5 or something. But just worked off of that, and like you said, it was really just a brilliant setup.
Take me through your race, because you dominated the first 50, led those laps, and then, about mid-race got shuffled back into traffic for a little bit. And I know it looked like you struggled a little bit in traffic from about lap 70 to that lap 100 or so benchmark before you could get back into the top 2 or 3 and, chase down the lead again. I mean, how different was it for you racing in traffic tonight compared to when you were able to be out front?
Well, I don't feel like I really struggled in traffic too much. I was really able to pass almost anybody. I was probably a little bit timid because I knew I had a good car, and I didn't want to do anything stupid and get damaged or wreck or do anything like that. So I was really just taking care of it and taking my time. I figured there was still a lot of laps left. So like I said, I was just being cautious, getting around people. But luckily I didn't have too much trouble.
From the outhouse to the penthouse, I said, when you cross the finish line. I mean, from not racing Texas to now coming in here and winning at Phoenix. I know, obviously, the goal is just to get back to the Peak Antifreeze Series, finish top 20 in points. This, obviously, a big step, Brad, towards that goal. I mean, how good does this make you feel going forward here for these next 7 races that you can make that happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I haven't won since last year in the Pro Series, so it takes a little bit of pressure off. But since I wasn't able to make Texas last week, it kind of gives me a little bit of confidence going into the next few races. And like you said, it takes a little bit of pressure off, so I don't have to work so hard, hopefully, as long as I can stay out of trouble.
You stayed out of trouble and brought home a big win tonight. I know it takes a lot of people to go into this, Brad. Any sponsors or shout-outs you need to thank and make? Who makes it happen for Brad Davies and the 11 crew?
Well, really, like I said, didn't really have any help this week. I had the day off of work yesterday, so I just put the time into it and was able to come up with something. But, of course, I want to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast tonight. You guys, from what I've seen, have done a good job in the past and as well as tonight. So keep up the good work, and we'll look forward to you next week.
We appreciate it, Brad. Again, congratulations. Brad Davies, this Chevrolet SS gets it done tonight. He's in victory results here tonight.
Davies walks away on the top spot in this one and now caught up in the pit lane with your 6th place finisher, Nick Johnson. I believe Brian Backlund, you're down with him on the pit lane.
I'm down here, actually. Evan down here on pit road with Nick Johnson, driver of the number 90. Came in tonight with starting in the 35th position. You end up finishing in the 6th position. That's got to be a huge confidence booster for you moving on to next week.
Oh, it really is to come in tonight after missing the first race due to a hauler fire. To come out in the second race and perform well and finish inside the top 10 after how poorly it started and the driver mistakes mid-race. It's a huge confidence booster for sure.
Now, obviously, you had a fast enough car to run up front, qualifying way in the back. How tough was it to get through traffic, and what type of strategy worked for you guys?
Getting through traffic was the hardest thing. With the two groups working as well as they did, it was a lot more about following the cars that were faster rather than following the faster line. And I was just able to make some pretty good moves when I needed to and fill some holes and dodge some wrecks. And next thing I know, I was 12th on that last restart, and we missed another incident off of 4, and I found myself in P6 and just rode to the finish. It was good.
Well, we move on to Homestead next week. Obviously, a little bit different of a track than Phoenix or even Texas, which you actually missed the first week there. Homestead, kind of a rectangle shape, 1.5 mile oval. How's the car set up there for you, and what type of track, as far as a racing type of track for you? Is Phoenix right up there on the top, or is Homestead right up there on the top of the list for you?
I think Homestead's going to be a little bit more towards my driving style. Be able to save the tires a bit more. It seemed like you can run really hard here the whole time. You didn't have to save too much. I think Homestead's going to be a little bit harder on the tire, a little bit harder on the car. So I think my more passive driving style should benefit me there, but we'll work hard on the setup all week and we'll see where we end up come Tuesday night.
Well, there you have it. Congratulations. A huge run. 29 spots you gained here tonight to come home in the 6th position. Sponsor shout-outs. Who do you want to thank for getting you here?
First off, I really have to give a huge shout-out to everyone over at HPM and the team for the setup tonight. The car was great. Made a few minor adjustments during the race, but for the most part, without their help, I probably wouldn't even qualified for the event. Got to thank Mike Smith, my spotter. He did a huge job tonight of getting me through a lot of that carnage and getting me in the right lanes at the right time. And all my teammates for all their hard work and dedication throughout the week. It was really good. Gotta give a shout out to all my boys on the TeamSpeak, Germ, Donut, Cash, AJ, everyone. Thanks guys for watching. Hopefully we keep doing well for you.
Well, there you have it. With names like Germ and Donut, you gotta say that's gotta be a fun time over there. Congratulations again on this great finish here, Nicholas, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to send it over to Justin. I believe we got a special announcement for a winner.
Going to announce the winner of the LSRTV Twitter viewer giveaway, and that winner tonight is going to be Dale Daly at Hello Cowboy. You have won the 1-year subscription for the NPR Setup Analyzer at 29 $29.99 giveaway, and email livesimracingtv@gmail.com to claim your prize. Excuse me, make it livesimracing@gmail.com to claim your prize.
With all the fun festivities from pit road out of the way, Evan Pasoko, let's throw it back topside, take a look down the Ford Performance final full field rundown, shall we?
And the top spot is exactly what it was like when we came on the air this evening. Brad Davies starts from the pole position. He probably could have led every single lap, but a lot of cautions, a lot of strategy. Somehow, though, he's still able to get that car clean out in front, and a dominating victory for Brad Davies to win this evening at the Phoenix International Raceway. And second, third, and fourth, the exact same from Texas 1 week ago. It's Barry, Bose, and Duval. Dylan Rafferty rounds out your top 5 here tonight. Nicholas Johnston, just talked to him. He comes from 35th to 6th on the evening. It was a 7th for Michael J. Johnson. Trey Edson in 8th position. A 9th for Timmy Hill. And Nick Furler hangs on to get a top 10 finish.
On back from the 11th spot, on back, the 93 of Byron Daly finishes 11th, Logan Clampett finishes 12th, Shane Doherty in the 91 finishes 13th, Dylan Jones finishes 14th, Thomas Davis rebounds to finish 15th, Josh Lawton finishes 16th, 17th goes to the 72 of Paul Kashiba, 18th to the 12 of Kyle Putz, 19 Jason Jacoby, and rounding out the top 20, Alex Scribner.
21st tonight was the 54 of Jacob Herberts. Cody Bias finishes 22nd in that 27 machine. Billy Price comes home 23rd. 24th went to Timu Levanin. Rob Ackley comes home 25th. 26th went to Alex Warren. Damon Burnett finishes 27th. 28th went to Robin Williams. Adam Gilliland will finish 29th and 30th to Ryan Borges.
31st position tonight is Brandon Schmidt. And again, all of these drivers behind the wall and out of competition, but it was all said and done. Mitchell Hunt in 32nd. It was the 33rd for Greg McKitty. Stephen Gilbert, 34th. 35th to Jeff Ramsdale. Justin Trombley, 36th. 37th was Ryan Lowe. Sasha Wessler, 38th. 39th to Tyler Laughlin. And it was David Rattler in P40. And then to round out the field tonight, 41st, Brandon Hoff. Blake Bryant in 42nd. And Brian Day shotgun on the field, rounding out your field of 43.
All right, Brian Blackford. I think we for sure saw the best car win this race tonight, but what a drive for Brad Davies. I mean, no, everybody expects him to be strong anytime he sets foot in this Pro Series, but he just put a whooping on him tonight.
Yeah, and from what I've seen out of Brad in my sim racing career, which dates back to 2003, Brad has been always a guy you got to watch out for. It sounds like he put in a little bit of effort into the setup, and the guy, he doesn't sound like it necessarily, but he's a genius. He just sounds like this average guy, but he really is with setups and just the way he drives. It's really smooth and consistent, which is exactly what pays off here at Phoenix. I just want to give a brief shout out to my driver, Kyle Putz. He did a great job, and he unfortunately got into an incident on pit road. They were checking up, how y'all try to get into pit road really quickly and slam on the brakes. Well, that tore up his front end pretty bad, and he was able to recover for an 18th place finish. And it's days like that where you don't really think a whole lot about it at the end of the day, but it could be the difference between making the NASCAR Peak Anniversary Series and just having to go through the Pro Series yet again.
It could indeed, and that's the key. Now we're 2 races into this championship, Evan, and the points very quickly are going to start to shake out. You get 1 drop in the first 7, but it's only 8 races of the 9 that count. You don't have a lot of room for error.
Yeah, with 9 races, you already go from a short season down 1 race, and the top 7 have the drop again. So 2 out of those 7 are out of the way. The next 5 races, you can still drop your lowest. But, I guess the best way to look at it is Josh Berry, Alan Bose, and Dylan Duval. They've yet to win, but when you come home 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, That's not going to stay like that all season. If it is, it's a miracle, but that is a great start because one bad finish, even for guys that ran strong tonight, Jacob, look at some of the names down at the bottom. David Rattler, who started second and comes home in 40th. Ryan Lowe, who started in 9th, comes home in 37th. Borges, who started P5, comes home in 30th. A couple of those guys were up front, top 10, top 5 cars. You're in one accident and now walking away with single-digit points basically on the evening. That drop is gone. So with the lack of races as a whole, and then as well as the fact that the drop does help, but you don't want to have two bad finishes, you really can't afford to have any bad races in a season that isn't even as long as how the NASCAR chase was when it was just those 10 races on points alone. And there is so much on the line. You got the bottom 30 drivers from the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series here, and 20 guys who may be making their first Pro Series start. This is a big deal. A lot of them have been racing for a lot of years to get to this point. It is a lot of pressure on them too.
And Justin, before we cut off tonight, I do want to give you a chance to shout out to this, but there were a few guys at the end of this race that I was rather impressed with, that they were able to fight their way back through and get back to the top 10. Couple names we maybe didn't expect.
Yeah, indeed. You know, you really have to kind of look at the fact that some of these guys involved in incidents, and I'll go right to it. Kyle got spun off at turn 4 and almost destroyed his race car, climbs back up to 18th. And how about Paul Kashiba? Not the best qualifying effort at all, right above Kyle Putz in 17th, at times up into the top 10 from P40. That's just completely mental in the Pro Series. And then how about Timmy Hill as well, finishing 9th and really rebounding from what seemed to be a very lackluster race up until the very end. Strategy gets him a top 10. Solid run for Timmy Hill when he really needed it.
Yeah, it was. And Evan, as we close tonight's Pro Series broadcast, we got a lot coming up on LSRTV the rest of this week into next week before we get back on the air next Tuesday night for round 3 from Homestead.
Yeah, things are busy here, and your home of sim racing is going to be LSRTV. If you could find a full broadcast schedule on our website at livesimracing.com. I also encourage you to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/livesimracingtv. Coming up this Thursday night, though, we have the Upstate Racing League. Friday night, we have our doubleheader with the Rod Car Truck Tour and the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series. United Sim Racing is on Saturday. Pacific Majors is Sunday. And then Monday, we know, is an exciting one, and definitely make sure to tune in. Just 2 races left in the 33-race season for the 2015 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series. That series, our LSRTV's regularly scheduled programming premiere series that we see on Monday, starting to come to a close, so you're not going to want to miss that one. But if you want to get involved in some broadcasted racing this winter, make sure to go to realsimracing.com. You can sign up for the RSR the Asphalt Assault Winter Series, or you could as well sign up for the RSR Outlaw Truck Series. So you got B cars on Monday nights, trucks on Wednesdays. There's so much to get all of that information. realsimracing.com and livesimracing.com. The voice of sim racing, Jacob, and by far and large this winter, the home of sim racing if you're trying to check stuff out almost every night of the week.
Absolutely right, Evan. And once again, want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight here on iRacing Live and, of course, on LSRTV. As we say goodnight from Phoenix, we also want to congratulate Brad Davies, who goes to victory lane in dominating fashion. Davies wins at Phoenix. We'll see you next Tuesday night here at 8:45 p.m. Eastern for round number 3. Until then, keep it off the wall until we meet again, and we might just see you on the web. Have a safe racing weekend. We'll see you next week. Good night. Championship leader has taken over. Vincent holds a 22.5 second